sort of now or never, if you will. I mean, we're going to have the break here in a couple of games, and we're still not in the playoffs. We haven't really been there all year, and we just need to play at a higher, more consistent level. So
the Nashville Predators also announced this morning that they will honor former Preds defenseman PK Subban on February 13th when the Preds take on the Arizona Coyotes. PK Subban announced his retirement over the offseason. He scored 130 points in 211 games as a Nashville Predator. In news out of the NFL this morning, Bill O'Brien has been hired as the New England Patriots' new offensive coordinator after 2 seasons with the University of Alabama and Nick Saban. I'm Nick Kieser for 102.5 and 106.3 The Game.
For more, follow us on Twitter at 1025 The Game or visit thegamenashville.com. Live from the Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical Studios. WPRT-FM Pegram, WPUC HD2 Laverne. Nashville's exclusive home for the Nashville Predators. 102.5 and 106.3.
A gunny performance. Do your job.
And the Tigers regain the lead.
The Game.
A Cromwell media station.
Where you have a voice.
He had a competent coaching staff. You just play terrible and you keep playing.
And we have strong opinions.
What a whiny freaking crybaby response.
This is Stillman and Company with Jared Stillman. Presented by TriStar Moving on Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Stillman and Company is delivered by TriStar Moving, 102.5, 106.3 The Game, streaming live on Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook Live. Thanks to Superbook Sports, live from the Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical Studios at Bridgestone Arena. Predators tonight in the Winnipeg Jets. You heard in the update right there that David Boyle said, hey, it's now or never. And again, everybody knows how I feel about this season. I was surprised the Predators were able to come back and win the game in the third period the other night. But we will see from there. So I was out yesterday. I have been flying to and from Phoenix for as long as I was in Phoenix, but I am back. And I have felt this way pretty much all weekend. And I've really wanted to get this off my chest after watching Amy Adams-Strunk do a one-on-one sit-down with Mike Keith. Now, this is just how it's going to be with Amy Adams-Strunk. She is going to go to the friendly in-house media, so all of her interviews will be done with Mike Keith and Jim Wyatt and things like that. She's not going to get grilled. She doesn't want to get grilled, and obviously there's nothing, in the NFL rule book that says, hey, the owner needs to get grilled. She's not going to do it. So we have to take what we can glean from there. And there was one little thing that she hinted at with Mike Keith that kind of stood out to me. But I just want to tell you what it makes me think now before we get into that cut. I think the Titans are moving on from Ryan Tannehill. Just from everything I've heard, I think the Ryan Tannehill era of Titan football is over. Now, I have said what I would do, and that if I couldn't get Brady or I couldn't get Rodgers at a reasonable price, I saw Peter King put out there 2 number 1 picks. I am not giving up the 11th overall pick for Aaron Rodgers. But if I can get Brady and Rodgers, I'd move off of Tannehill. If I like one of the quarterbacks and I think I can get the quarterback, then I would consider moving off of Tannehill. But right now, knowing what I know, and given the contract that they have with Tannehill, if it were up to me, I'm running it back with Ryan Tannehill. So that's what I would do, but I'm telling you what I think is going to happen. This was Mike Vrabel right after the season was over, before we assumed the Titans had decided that Rand Carthon was going to be their next general manager. And this was kind of the Terry McCormick nice way of asking if Tannehill was going to be back, followed by the put him on the spot by me, in which Mike Vrabel hardly commits.
Are you optimistic that Ryan will be your starting quarterback next year?
Well, I mean, we have a lot of guys here that are under contract. We have a lot of guys that want Ryan to get as healthy as he possibly can, and then go and be our quarterback and figure out things that are going to help us win. And then that's the case for a lot of guys. A lot of guys are that are under contract that finish the season not out there. So let's get everybody healthy and let's see where everybody's at, and then we can make some decisions.
So you don't feel comfortable right now committing to Ryan as the starter for next year?
Well, I mean, he's our starting quarterback. If he was healthy, he's our starting quarterback. You know what I mean? So that's all I can tell you. And right now, there's a lot of guys that aren't healthy and that didn't finish the game. I mean, I think we're going to talk a lot of hypotheticals 2 days after our last game. So, happy to talk a lot about things that I can answer, but I can't answer things that, are in the future.
Ryan Tannehill sprained his ankle. It wasn't like Ryan Tannehill broke his throwing shoulder and had to have reconstructive surgery. He sprained his ankle. By the way, Ryan Tannehill was working out last week without a boot on. That takes us to the new general manager, who, again, we've been told it's a collaboration between the two. It's as equal parts Ran as it is Mike. I asked him about Tannehill last week. Here's what he said.
What do you think of Ryan Tannehill, and is he your quarterback?
I don't think that's fair. At this point, we're still evaluating the roster. I am, and that's going to take further conversation to us winning football games. But I still need more time, to evaluate and make those decisions. As you know, this is a quarterback-driven league, and people are hired and fired every day over that position. So I want to spend more time evaluating that position. So I'll have my own opinion, and Mike and I will confer and figure it out.
AKA, no comment. Then Amy Adams Strunk sitting down with Mike Keith this weekend, and listen to where she starts to go before she kind of pulls it back.
What is your new GM's charge from the owner as he begins this job?
Well, I got a text from him after, he was still at the airport, and he was so excited, and he was just like, I can't wait to get back and start working on that championship for you, Miss Amy. And, so if that's my mission to him, I know there's going to be some difficult decisions that have to be made, and, maybe some change. I know they're going to evaluate, so I'm going to let them, have their time to do that. But I think, we're just going to, be excited for the steps that come, because I know down maybe next year, the year after, I'm not really sure, but I know we have a Lombardi trophy in our future.
Okay, if you're a true blue Titan, Bobo, you heard that and said, yes, a Lombardi trophy in our future. If you're me, you heard that, and you heard her say, I know there's going to be some change, and there may be some tough decisions and major change. And then she stopped. Well, but I'll let them evaluate that. Ran Carthon presented his plan for what the quarterback position was, regardless of whether or not he knows Ryan Tannehill. He has already presented that plan. That plan is probably what got him hired. Amy Adams Strunk knows the plan. Mike Vrabel knows the plan. Ran Carthon probably presented the plan. And so she's telling you that, there may be some tough decisions, and there may be some change, big change. Well, you know what? I'll let them decide. I'm not, I'm the owner. I don't, don't want any part of that. And then you have to ask yourself, what would that change be? Amy Adams Strunk owns the team. A major decision to her is not who is the head ticket rep. A major decision to her is who's the general manager, who's the coach, who's the quarterback. Whether or not they give Nick Westbrook-Akine an RFA tender is not a major decision. It is not something that crosses her desk. The quarterback, boy, the owner better be all in on that one. And so, again, I'm just reading the tea leaves here. And I see Mike Vrabel, who tries to dance his way out of answering a question about Tannehill, talking about his injury. And, let's get him healthy first, and then let's see. It's a sprained ankle. Patrick Mahomes, by the way, suffered the exact same injury. He's going to play on Sunday. It's not going to be pretty, but he's going to play. Ryan Tannehill will be fine coming off of the ankle. Ran Carthon asked about it. That wouldn't be fair. I mean, I just got here. I've got to evaluate. Really? So when you went through the process of getting here, you never opined privately as to what you were going to do with the quarterback? That's pretty hard to believe. And then the owner is hinting at tough decisions and major change. Now, we know it's not going to be Derrick Henry because Rand Carthon has already said, I can't wait to stand next to Derrick and size him up. Rand Carthon's already said, I think I can win with my team built around a running back. So we know they're not getting rid of Derrick Henry. Well, what other hard decisions and major changes would there be? It's the quarterback. And again, I find it almost ironic that last year, after Ryan Tannehill absolutely blew that Bengals playoff game, and I believe blew the Lombardi Trophy for the Titans, I was the strongest out the gate about how it was his fault and you can't win a Super Bowl with him, and he is what he is. And I believe that, by the way, for the record, that I think you cannot win a Super Bowl with him as your quarterback, and you are what you are. But I wasn't expecting after this past season where so much went wrong. I mean, everything went wrong this year. The offensive line had injuries, and they stunk. The wide receivers had injuries, and they stunk. The offensive coordinator got a DUI, and he stunk. The tight ends, once they started using them, didn't stink, but for the first half of the year did. The defense had injuries all across the board. The special teams stunk, no matter what Mike Vrabel wants to say in defense of his buddy Ackerman. They stunk. And still, the Titans were at one point 7-3, and they lost to the two teams that are competing for the AFC by a combined 7 points. So I don't think you're that far away. But I wonder if they've decided this is it for Tannehill. Like that they've watched enough of Tannehill to know what he is, and they want to go for somebody new in the future. And I think they made that mind up. Just like when I read your texts and I get your calls, and about maybe, I wouldn't say it's 50-50, but it's somewhere probably in that ballpark that every call, oh, we got to move off of Tannehill, Jared, got to move off Tannehill. And I'm like, to what? Brady, Rodgers, and then everybody tells me why no on Brady, no on Rodgers. And then they tell me these quarterbacks in the draft aren't any good and things like that. And I'm like, okay, well, then what are you going to do? Derek Carr, Baker Mayfield? Like, what are you going to do? But that is what a lot of people say. And I am starting to think that's what the team thinks. That the team has just decided they have had enough of Ryan Tannehill, that Rand Carthon, probably not a huge Ryan Tannehill guy. Again, it would be unfair for me to comment. Would you go in there? Rand, what do you think your plan for our team is? That would be unfair for me to comment. I just showed up here. I doubt it. So with that, I'm starting to think that the Titans will be moving on. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. We will get into your phones. 615-737-1025. And there are two prominent yet older quarterbacks who might be on the market. And I am starting to think that the Titans will be in play. We'll get to that next. Stillman and Company, 102.5-106.3 The Game.
Hey, Middle Tennessee, it's trivia time. You think you're pretty smart? Well, come on out Wednesday, February 1st to Boom Ba's East and test your trivia skills. Featuring Willie Donick as Trivia Master, all proceeds support STARS and the hope, health, and connection of young people in our community. Register your team of no more than 4 and let the competition begin. Go to starsnashville.org to officially sign up. That's starsnashville.org. See you February 1st at Boom Ba's East.
The choice is yours, Wednesdays at 8:45. Brought to you by Jarrett Companies. Now hiring experienced sprinkler experts. Go to jarrettfire.com. JARRETT fire.com. Jarrett Companies, a company above and beyond industry standards.
Hey guys, the new year is here! And for many of us, that means making resolutions to get healthier and in better shape. But if you don't have that youthful energy, if you aren't sleeping well, if you feel like you're walking around in a fog all day, just resolving to get out of bed can be tough, let alone getting back in the gym. But you should know that there are many men feeling this way in these modern times, because low testosterone is affecting more men than ever. And low T can cause all kinds of issues like a reduced sex drive, poor sleep patterns, general fatigue, ineffective workouts. It can even contribute to ED. But the good news is that the medical team at the Tennessee Men's Clinic are experts in treating low T. Many men have experienced life-changing results. Testosterone therapy can help increase energy, workouts, make you feel more rested, and enjoy a greater sex drive too. So make a resolution to find that guy you used to be. Call the Tennessee Men's Clinic. Your initial visit is just $99 and includes a medical consult and testosterone panel. Call 615-208-9090 or go to TennesseeMen'sClinic.com. That's TennesseeMen'sClinic.com. Visit our website to learn more, including side effects. Treatment sex drug results vary.
Hey, it's Hutton. Interest rates are rising, but not at Spring Hill Heating and Cooling. Replace your old unit fast before new regulations increase prices up to 20%. Get a new unit today at today's price and receive up to $1,500 off or get 18 months of no payments. That's right, no payments until summer 2024. At Spring Hill Heating and Cooling, all new systems come with a 10-year parts and labor warranty. Spring Hill Heating and Cooling, servicing southern Middle Tennessee. Schedule your appointment now at springhillac.com. That's springhillac.com.
At Genesis Diamonds, it's not just a new year. It's a new opportunity to bring you more choices, more value, more ways to celebrate your love. So we've expanded our selection of exquisite hand-picked diamonds from a half carat to 15 carats, all shapes, all sizes, all at our famous no middleman prices. This year especially, we know price matters, and we're committed to delivering the best value every day. We've also brought in even more exclusive designer jewelry, new cutting-edge fashion-forward rings, earrings, bands, bracelets, pendants, things you can't find anywhere else. And of course, Genesis is proud to offer a truly spectacular collection of luxury pre-owned Rolex timepieces. We have all the most popular models in stock with no wait list and no restrictions. Is this the year you reward yourself with a premier name and timepieces? Come to Genesis in 2023 and let our non-commissioned experts help you celebrate those important milestones. We guarantee the best value, the highest quality, and the strongest warranties and guarantees in the jewelry industry. Genesis Diamonds and luxury pre-owned Rolexes.
Want to weigh in on the conversation? It's a brain booster. Slide into our DMs. Or just text or call at 615-737-1025. Our phone line is driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Strong opinions and a strong personality on your drive home. This is Stillman and Company, presented by TriStar Moving on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Tom, you're leaving everybody guessing. You've said you'll take your time. Do you have any type of a timetable as to what you might want to do regarding your football career?
Jim, if I knew what I was going to fucking do, I'd have already done it. Okay? I'm taking it a day at a time.
I sense you're antagonized by the question.
You're scratching.
It's only the question that everybody wants to hear.
You're scratchy. Scratchy. I appreciate your asking. Thank you.
Tom. This is Jim Gray. Tom, what are you going to do? I don't bleeping know, Jim, and I'll let you know. It is not an accident that Jim Gray asked that question to Tom Brady. He has been Tom Brady's house media for years. And so my guess is Brady knew that question was coming. Brady knew he was going to respond that way. And it's because Tom Brady doesn't want to be asked any more questions about it. So let's get it out of the way on the channel that I go on with my show that I get paid a fortune for. Let me go do that. That's what Brady did yesterday on the Let's Go podcast on Sirius XM Mad Dog Sports Radio. So Brady says he doesn't know. Aaron was on the Pat McAfee show earlier today. He's not divulging any state secrets as to what's next about what's going on with Aaron Rodgers. And the Titans, as I believe after listening to the new general manager talk, after listening to the head coach come up with the sorriest excuse to not have to state his feelings on the future with the quarterback Ryan Tannehill, and the owner hinting at major change, I think the Titans are moving off of Ryan Tannehill. Now, I don't think Mike Vrabel's signing up for a rebuild. I don't think Mike Vrabel is signing up for Will Levis, because if it doesn't work with Will Levis, you're fired. I don't think he's signing up for that, which makes me think that the Titans could be in play for Brady or Rodgers. Now, Peter King surmised, and it's like if Peter King writes it, people say, oh, well, Peter King said, but Peter King wrote in the Football Morning in America column that the Green Bay Packers want 2 first-round picks for Aaron Rodgers. And he wrote that he thinks Woody Johnson would give up, the owner of the Jets, would give up the 2 first-round picks in order to get Aaron Rodgers. Well, I'm not giving up 2 first-round picks for Aaron Rodgers. And I'm certainly not giving up the 11th overall pick in this year's draft. I'm not giving that up. I'm not taking on the 39-year-old and the money and the bull crap and giving up the 11th overall pick. Not going to happen. Now, I might give you Tannehill in return, but I'm not going to give you the 11th overall pick. Brady is a free agent. Now, Rick Stroud of the Tampa Bay Times, who is the authority when it comes to the Buccaneers, kind of like if Jim Wyatt never, I don't want to say retired because he didn't retire, but if Jim Wyatt never went to work for the Titans and stayed on the Tennessean, that's what Rick Stroud is in Tampa. And Rick Stroud reported over the weekend that the West Coast is probably out of play on Tom Brady's radar because of his family. Giselle and the kids are in Miami. Bridget Moynihan and his older son are in New York. So going out to Vegas, where everybody thinks he's going to go, may not be in the cards because Brady's got family in Miami and he's got family in New York. So I could see the Jets making a play for Brady, but it seems like the Jets are pretty dialed in on Aaron Rodgers. And again, there's only 32 teams in the league. And more than half of them have quarterbacks that I don't think they'd move off of in order to get a 39-year-old Aaron Rodgers or a 46-year-old Tom Brady. I don't think the Dallas Cowboys are moving off of Dak Prescott in order to get a 39-year-old Aaron Rodgers. So once you take all those teams out, it's really just Washington, bad ownership as of right now. It's the Giants, but they say they're going to go forward with Daniel Jones. It's all these teams that are kind of like you, but they don't have Mike Vrabel, who both guys respect. They didn't hire a new general manager. They hadn't been to the playoffs all these years in a row. It's teams that have been looking for a quarterback forever who don't have one, and New Orleans and maybe Atlanta. And is Tom Brady really going to go to the Atlanta Falcons? Is Aaron Rodgers going to want to play for the Washington Commanders with Dan Snyder as the owner? So everybody is puffing the flames and saying that Rodgers might be available. And Brady certainly has not ruled out playing again next season. Though I do believe, and again, I think Rick Stroud reported this. Maybe it was Ian Rappaport. I can't remember. But they reported that everybody in Tampa Bay thinks Brady's gone. So if that's the case, those two have to play quarterback somewhere. And that somewhere very well could be here. I still don't think the Titans are going to trade the 11th overall pick for Aaron Rodgers. Tom Brady, though, doesn't come with draft pick compensation. That's part of his deal. You can't tag him. So I think they could be in play for those guys. Everybody else who's on the market or everybody else who could be available, or there's always a, well, what would they want, or, well, what would it take, or, well, is Derek Carr an upgrade from Tannehill, or it's very hard for me to see the Titans going in a direction that is not an established veteran quarterback that is definitively better than Ryan Tannehill. And if that's the case, there's just not that many out there that you can go get. I would love to have Joe Burrow as the quarterback of the Titans, but that's just not how it's going to work. 615-737-1025. Our phone lines are driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. We are going to be keeping our antennas up on both Brady and Rodgers going forward for right now, because I think the Titans are moving off of Tannehill. Ellie is going to start us off today. Thank you for calling. Thank you for waiting. What's up, Ellie?
Yeah, no, I agree. If you remember, John Robinson was not fired the day after A.J. Brown went off. John Robinson was fired the day Tom Brady brought Tampa back against the Saints. And that might have actually been the last straw, because she might have wanted Brady. She might be 60 for Brady, and she wanted Brady to come in and win us a Super Bowl. And that's why she's probably, I see maybe like a greater than 50% chance that Tom Brady is our quarterback next year. Thank you.
Here's my thing. Good call, Ellie. Here's my thing about Amy Adams Strunk and anything that happened before John Robinson got fired. No matter what it is, it will always be well, maybe Robinson wasn't the one who. And this goes back to the power dynamic. of Vrabel and Rand Carthon. I saw a tweet the Midday Show sent out today, and it said, what are the Titans going to look like with Rand Carthon at the helm? I'm like, do we know that Rand Carthon is at the helm of the Titans? No, we do not. So now, John Robinson, who was in New England with Tom Brady, we're now saying, I mean, is there a chance that she wanted Brady and that Robinson stood on the table for Tannehill? And that after the Titans had lost to the Eagles and AJ had gone nuts and Brady pulled off another fourth quarter comeback, that she said, I could have had Tom Brady. I'm not going to say that's completely far-fetched, but it is what is going to happen is that every mistake that has been made by the Titans from the Philadelphia game and before is now all going to be John Robinson's fault. That's how people are going to view it. And that call is just an example of it. You know, maybe she really wanted Brady the whole time in 2020. It's like when it comes to free agency, and we talk about all the swings and misses the Titans have had. We never talk about the hits. Like, we never talk about the Nico Autry or the trade for DeMarco Murray or even, like, the little guys that have come in and I think done a pretty good job. We never talk about that stuff. It's always, well, Beasley and Clowney. Well, whose idea do you think Clowney was? I mean, it was Vrabel who was doing press conferences before they even signed Jadeveon Clowney that was like, well, all of my experiences were great in Houston with JD. But we're going to lay that one at the feet of Robinson because that's the narrative now. So to answer your question about could Amy Adams-Strunk have wanted Brady in 2020, my guess is if Amy Adams-Strunk wanted Tom Brady in 2020, John Robinson would have gone out of his way to try to get Tom Brady. And we still don't know that the Titans weren't interested in Brady. The one thing I have to say about the 2020 free agency, if Dana White and Gronk are telling the truth, and I think they are, that Brady to the Raiders was a done deal and John Gruden blew it up, then you cannot be mad at John Robinson for sticking with what he had in Tannehill and not risking ending up with neither guy. 615-737-1025. More your phones. 615-737-1025. Plus, where did all this, it feels like Aaron Rodgers is going to get traded stuff. Like, what? What? We'll get to that. Stillman and Company, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
Want a chance to win tickets to an upcoming Preds game?
Yes.
Tune in to Robbie and Rexroad every weekday Preds game day at 8:45 for Preds Pick to Click. Guess a goal scorer and win.
I'll take Roman Yost. Matt Duchene.
Pick to Click is brought to you by TJ Anderson Homes of Benchmark Realty. Visit tjandersonhomes.com to see why they are referred so often. And by Superbook Sports, voted #1 sportsbook in Vegas. Download their app today.
Preds Pick to Click.
We are 102.5 and 106.3 The Game.
Hey, it's Mike from Newton Nissan South. It's a new year, so I thought I would share my personal resolution with you. My resolution is to be able to hula hoop on the trampoline for 1 minute. This might be painful. Since I've had years of practice making resolutions, I thought I'd give you some tips on making yours. It should involve 3 key components. First, make it something new, like texting without using your thumbs. Second, make it easy, like reading more, or at least turning the subtitles on while binge watching Netflix. And third, make sure no matter what that you buy your next new car from Newton. We want to make your purchase fast and easy with Newton FastPass. We'll even deliver the car to you. Remember, new, easy, and buy at Newton. I have a feeling this next year is going to be great. Shop at NewtonNissanSouth.com to start your resolution today. See website for details. Put your resolutions in writing.
What's up, everybody? It's Michelle Knezovic for Superbook Sports, and this is your New Year's resolution: win money in 2023 with Superbook Sports. Superbook has over 3 decades of sports wagering experience in Las Vegas, so you'll get the best odds boosts anywhere as we head into the football playoffs. Plus, check out their special odds boosts and promotions at Superbook.com. Make 2023 the year when you win money from Vegas. Download the Superbook Sportsbook app and place your bets today. Visit Superbook.com for terms and conditions. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-889-9789.
Coration CBD products. Coration began as our family's mission to provide the Nashville community with locally and organically sourced CBD products. We are passionate about providing high-quality CBD products for everyday use. Tinctures, topicals, and pet products too. We are a Pick 10 company. Our hemp is organically grown and produced in Nashville, Tennessee, from sustainably sourced non-GMO genetics. All of our products are lab tested. Find all of our products at CorationCompany.com.
Nashville Sounds Baseball is back March 31st. And if you haven't been to Third and Home on game day, you're missing out. It's the newest sports bar in Germantown that overlooks the Nashville Sounds ballpark. From the bar's spacious beer patio, you can see the whole Sounds game as if you were sitting in the seats with a ticket. No wonder it's known as Germantown's Bar with a Ballpark. Head to 3rd Avenue North for lunch, a night of brews, or to catch a game. Third and Home is open Wednesday through Sunday. Visit thirdandhome.com.
Your company's hiring. Who isn't? We would love to show you how to use 1025 The Game to attract and retain employees. We can also help you find the exact person you're looking for with a targeted digital campaign. You can trust our team to help you build your team. Email us at together@cromwellmedia.com.
Looking for a career with purpose or have that passion for youth development? Boys and Girls Clubs of Middle Tennessee provides a safe place where youth gain the tools to learn, lead, and reach their full potential. And that starts with you, offering competitive pay and free after-school care for employees. Learn more at bgcmt.org.
When you want live and local,
if they were just better at the offensive line,
You can be a contender in the AFC again.
they've had more winning seasons than not. 102.5 and 106.3 The Game has you covered. Looking for some national programming?
why do I want to get a running back like that 5 more years?
The AFC now is so deep at quarterback.
Check out 94.9 The Fan. Nashville's home for all things sports is 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and 94.9 The Fan.
Hey Nashville, this is Laura Rutledge from the SEC Network, and you're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Because the decision has been made, you're getting traded by sports media as of this morning. And I feel like there's another decision that has to be made before any of that can take place. Where are you in that stance, and are you in the middle of that process still?
Usually you would think they would wait until maybe the off week between the championship weeks and the Super Bowl to drum up some storylines, because there is, 2 great games this Sunday and obviously 4 really deserving teams to be playing. I have, some people that love to track that stuff, so I've been made aware of it.
I've been made aware of it, what they're saying. Aaron Rodgers says, I have people who track that stuff. Or Aaron just looks at it himself. I have a pretty good feeling. Inside sources from what I've heard. So again, I think the Titans are moving off of Tannehill. Brady's out there. Rodgers might be out there. Again, as Pat McAfee said in that cut right there, all of sports media seems to think Aaron Rodgers is going to be traded. I have no idea what's going to happen. Of course, again, don't get me started. Cap number says, but there is another element to this that people want to get in on. I'll let Anthony do that next. He's been waiting patiently. Thank you for calling. Thank you for holding. What's up, Anthony?
All right, man. I got one for you. All right. First of all, Tannehill's not that bad. So
I don't think Tannehill's that bad either.
Yeah, keep Tannehill. Trade. We have a GM from San Francisco. Let's work a trade up. Let's move down from 11 to 28 or 29 or whatever the hell it is. Get Trey Lance. Let Malik go. And then you have a guy that San Francisco was getting ready to turn the keys over to, who's been maturating in the league for 3 years, who I think has a bigger upside than Malik. And if he works out, you've got your quarterback for the next 12 years.
Okay, so you think that San Francisco's going to San Francisco's going to swap first-round picks for Trey Lance?
Well, Trey Lance is a dead man walking. He's not going to play. If they play Trey Lance, and he goes out and makes one incomplete pass, the entire San Francisco is going to go crazy. They can't put him through that. He's gone.
So you don't think San Francisco would just want your first-round pick in exchange for Trey Lance when they traded, talking about San Francisco, 3 first-round picks to go up and get Trey Lance? See, that's what's funny to me is that I don't know what the value of Trey Lance is. I don't know what the value of Trey Lance is from what he's actually worth, which Rand Carthon would know better than I would, Is he actually worth a first-round pick? You're getting basically either 1 year or 3 years at the quarterback position, because you either have to decide after the first year what you're going to do on that third year. So you're not going to get, if you were to take him in the draft, you're not going to get the full 4 or 5 year experience with the guy. Secondly, he's in my opinion, depressed asset coming off of the broken ankle. So what is that in NFL terms? Is that a second-round pick worth? Is that a first-round pick worth? Is that, oh, no, we traded 3 first-round picks for him, so we want 3 first-round picks in return. They're not going to get it. But is that the value of Trey Lance? And again, nobody knows that. So it's hard for me to say, well, San Francisco would be willing to do that. That's actually the jump from 30th, or I'm going to guess I think San Francisco is going to win this weekend. So the jump from 31st, if you look at like the Jimmy Johnson trade chart, the jump from 31st to 11 is basically more valuable than the Titans' entire draft board outside of that. So you're going to trade that for Trey Lance? I don't know. I mean, I could sign Tom Brady scot-free and keep the 11th overall pick. Or he says swap first with the Niners. I don't know. Is Trey Lance that good? And I don't think anybody knows the answer to that. I mean, I'm willing to put Lance on the list because he is in his 3rd year in the league, and San Francisco obviously loved him so much to do all the things that they have done for him. And I don't believe that both Trey Lance and Brock Purdy can coexist on the roster. And it's unfortunate. This is not what it used to be. Pre-free agency, pre-social media, pre-billion-dollar TV contracts, where Chuck Noll can sit Terry Bradshaw on the bench and say, I'm going with Joe Gilliam right now. And I still believe in you, Terry Bradshaw, and you'll be great, Terry Bradshaw, but you can't do that anymore. You can't even do what Jimmy Johnson did in the early 90s when he was screwing around with Troy Aikman and Steve Berline. You cannot do that nowadays. Once you decide he's my guy for right now, he is your guy. And that means the other guy is not your guy. And that is the football society we live in. And San Francisco, in my opinion, is going to have to make that call. So I'll put Lance on the list. And the list in front of me right now: Tannehill, Brady, Rodgers, Carr, Jimmy, Baker, Trey Lance. And I can tell you right now, I am not interested in Carr. I am not interested in Jimmy. And I'm really not interested in Baker for 3 separate reasons. I'm not interested for Carr because I think he's almost the same player as Tannehill, and I am not paying more money and using a draft pick or whatever in order to get Derek Carr. I'm not doing that to get the same player, so I'm out on him. I'm not getting Jimmy because I think Jimmy sucks, and Jimmy's always hurt. Out on him. And I'm not getting Baker because I don't think Mike Vrabel and Baker could get along. And so I'm out on that one. So if we take those 3 guys out, it's Tannehill, Brady, Rodgers, and Lance. And I still think the Titans are moving off of Tannehill. And that's just my opinion. And I could be wrong. And if I was in charge, I would be wrong because unless I know I can get Brady, I'm staying with Tannehill. Chris is up next. Has been waiting patiently on these quarterbacks. Thank you for calling. What's up, Chris?
Hey, Jared. I missed the first part of your show, so I don't know why you think they're moving off of Tannehill. But as far as Brady and Rodgers goes, Trey Lance is just an unproven commodity, and I don't think the Titans would be willing to give up a first-round pick for that guy. And
you do know that the guy who is now general manager of the Titans knows infinitely more about Trey Lance than anybody inside the Titans organization, including you.
Now, that's true, and I think Trey Lance is probably more of a possibility than the 2 older guys. I just think for Rodgers, you're going to have to give up way too much, and the Titans have so many holes that they have to fill. And Brady, I believe, is really no better than Tannehill at this point in his career.
You do realize that Tom Brady threw for so many yards this year that it would have set a Titans-Oilers record, and it wasn't even a good year for Brady.
Yeah, but are they going to...
No, there is no but to that, Chris. Chris, there is no but, and I appreciate your call. Tom Brady is a better player than Ryan Tannehill. And whenever I have to say that, it almost angers me because it makes me feel like I'm putting Tannehill down to say that Tom Brady's better than him, when in reality, sometimes I think you guys are just, you have your heads up your tushes, and you don't realize that Tom Brady is freaking awesome. That in a had-to-have-it game with a terrible team, with a horrible coach, Tom Brady threw for 423 yards and ended up making the playoffs. I mean, are we really talking about whether or not Tom Brady is better than Ryan Tannehill? Tom Brady has always been better than Ryan Tannehill, and Tom Brady will always be better than Ryan Tannehill. I hear people that say, well, you know, Brady doesn't have that much time left. How much time does Tannehill have left? He's 35 years old. I mean, I'm sorry. The guys who play until they're 40 are few and far between, and Tannehill's not going to be one of them. But when I say that, it's like I'm putting Tannehill down. And for the, we have so many holes for that talk about a Rodgers or a, again, everybody thinks because Peter King wrote that Green Bay would be looking for 2 first-round picks in exchange for Aaron Rodgers does not mean that the final price is going to be 2 first-round picks for Aaron Rodgers. I mean, if somebody wanted to give me 2 first-round picks for Dennis Daly, I would make that trade. Unfortunately, no one's going to do that. A 39-year-old who's making $60 million, who does ayahuasca in the offseason and makes everything about him. You don't get 9 picks for that. My guess is they'll get a first, but I don't think they'll get a high first. And if you're not going to get a high first, you're going to get a low first. Now you're dealing with teams that already have quarterbacks. So it is going to depress the market for Green Bay. The Jets might be so dead set on getting Aaron Rodgers that maybe they'll pay the ransom. But I don't think that anybody else in the league is going to do that. Old players that make a lot of money do not go for high picks unless you're stupid like the Titans were with the Julio Jones deal. Other than that, it's one or the other. It's either I'm going to pay him or I'll give you a pick and you have to pay him, but it's not the same. And the same can be said for Aaron. The Trey Lance thing, you guys are going to have to stop with the he's unproven, because that is the leg up that the Titans have with the guy that they hired, is that he knows everything about Trey Lance since he entered the league. He knows what kind of kid he is. He knows, what his girlfriend life is like. He knows what his family's like. He knows what his weaknesses in practice are. He knows, is he mentally tough enough for the position? Does he have a good attitude? Could he work with Vrabel? All of those things that we don't have a clue about. And I'll admit, I have no idea of anything with Trey Lance. All of those things, he has a better idea about it than you do. So if the Titans were to trade the 11th overall pick this year and their first-round pick next year to the 49ers in order to get Trey Lance, then he better end up being Patrick Mahomes. But it is telling me that Rand Carthon thinks that's what he is. And that's if that's what they do. And I don't think they would, but I don't know. 615-737-1025. We'll get back to your phones. 615-737-1025. Plus, I have got a freaking just rocket up my rear end about something that I have got to get off my chest that has bothered me all weekend. We'll get to that next. Stillman & Company, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
Every Wednesday at 8:30. Join Robbie and Rexroad for The Choice is Yours.
2 sports questions, 2 non-sports questions.
They'll answer a couple of questions about life and sports. The Choice is Yours is built by Jarrett Companies. You have a choice. So when you have a need for site and utility work, fire protection, concrete and asphalt services, the choice is simple. It's Jarrett Companies. For more, visit JarrettCompaniesInc.com. The Choice is Yours. Wednesdays at 8:30 on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
In St. Pete, Clearwater, Florida, every day is a great escape. With 35 miles of white sand, there's no better place to get away. So let's explore the secluded beaches of Fort DeSoto or paddle our way around Honeymoon Island. Let's kick back, kayak, and catch crimson sunsets. Let's trade snow boots for bathing suits. Let's make today and tomorrow a beach day. Let's shine. Plan your escape at visitstpeteclearwater.com.
Hey, you think mortgage rates are still super high? Well, think again. Rates have plummeted to a 5-month low. Hey, Willie Donick here. Call my friends at Loan Pronto now to see how low rates are. It may be time to do that refinance you've been putting off, or time to get back to house hunting. If you're like a lot of people, you've got way too much credit card debt right now, and you're getting fleeced with 20+% interest charges every month, or maybe your current home rate is over 6%. So if that applies to any of you, listen, you can get a quick, easy refi at Loan Pronto. Wipe out all those cards. Close in about 14 days and cut your overall expenses by $500 a month or more. How does that sound to you? Right now, Loan Pronto is doing refis with APRs in the 4s. So call now to take advantage of this big rate drop. Get those credit cards to zero. Start that home improvement project, or get out of that 7% loan you were forced into last year. Here's the phone number, 615-499-5780. That's 615-499-5780, or go to loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 166-1781, subject to lender approval, NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
Prescription products require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if a prescription is appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for full details and important safety information. Subscription required.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same but is 90% cheaper? And you can get it online? Just go to 4hims.com/radio. At Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and trusted generic alternatives to the biggest brands at 90% off. That's right, get generic for Viagra, the same active ingredient as brand name Viagra, but 90% cheaper. It's the same medication you get from your doctor, but with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, 4hims.com/radio. That's 4hims.com/radio for your free online visit. FORHIMS.com/RADIO.
There's never a good time for your furnace to go out, especially in the winter, but it's always a good time to call Lee Company. Our heating and air conditioning pros are available 24/7. No heat? Don't wait. Call Lee Company now at 615-567-1000. Our expert technicians will diagnose the issue and fix it right the first time. When you're cold, you need someone you can count on to bring the heat. Call Lee Company now at 615-567-1000 or visit leecompany.com.
The sports talk doesn't end on Friday. Join Michelle Knezovic and Junie Riddle for Michelle and Junie.
Have they truly been tested yet?
I really want this to be a good game.
Michelle and Junie, every Saturday morning at 9. Presented by Superbook Sports and the Nashville Jam Company.
I think Junie and I are going to go hit breakfast/brunch there after the show.
On 102.5 and 106.3, The Game and the Game Nashville app. You're listening to Stillman and Company, presented by TriStar Moving on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
I know that's where you want to be at the end of the season. I mean, I already knew that, but yeah, it was a great experience. Having that home game here was really, really cool. Being able to win that game, and then obviously a great environment in Kansas City, and just kind of that hunger that's left after coming up short. You know, I think everybody feels that, and really excited moving forward. And that's like we said after the game, what we said today is like we set a new standard, and that's kind of, we're not going to settle for anything less. And obviously there's more out there for us, and we're just excited to get that opportunity again. Everybody needs some time now. Obviously the offseason is big, just to rest, to recover. There's a lot of guys that are banged up, and but we're excited for what's to come in the future, and it's going to be fun.
That's old average Alex himself, Trevor Lawrence, talking about, hey, we in Jacksonville raised the standard. Congratulations on not finishing worst in the league for the first time in the last 3 years. But average Alex isn't the only one who's sitting out there saying, like, hey, look at Jacksonville. Now, Trevor Lawrence didn't throw for 350 yards on Saturday. He threw for 217. And if it wasn't for Jamal Agnew in the punt return game, old average Alex scored 10 points himself against Kansas City. They scored 17 points on Saturday, the same as Malik Willis did when he went to Kansas City. And you all know how much I think Malik sucks. Now, I'm not saying that Lawrence sucks as bad as Malik, and I don't think Lawrence sucks. I think he's fine with the potential to get better. I don't think he's Joe Burrow, and I don't think he's going to be Joe Burrow. But my goodness gracious, this has been on my chest literally all weekend since the game Saturday. So note to everybody in the country, including everybody on the NBC broadcast, most notably Chris Collinsworth, all the people who are ready to anoint the Jags as the AFC South champions for the next 10 years. Let's think about how hard it is to do that. Unless Trevor Lawrence is Peyton Manning, and there has been nothing about his career, including this year, other than the fact that he was picked first overall, that makes me think at all that he's got the potential to be a Peyton Manning. Unless you're Peyton Manning, it's hard to reign over a division. Guess what? Next year, Jacksonville's not going to get the first overall pick in the draft. They're going to be picking 24th. And it's a lot harder to go get that great player at 24 than it is when you're picking at number 1. The second thing about Jacksonville is now they're going to have a tougher schedule. So instead of what they've had to play over the last couple of years, they will now get Patrick Mahomes again, Josh Allen, and Joe Burrow. The AFC gauntlet. The Titans went 0-3 this year against those 3 quarterbacks. You win the South, that's your reward. Next season, no matter what, no matter who you're supposed to play, intra-division, out-of-division, you get Joe Burrow, Patrick Mahomes, and Josh Allen. Good luck, Alex. Also, let's not forget Doug Peterson, and I think Doug Peterson's a fine coach. Like, I think he's fine. I don't think he's a great coach. Doug Peterson had Carson Wentz his second year in the league. A lot of people thought that Carson Wentz was the next great quarterback in the NFL before he got hurt. Carson Wentz never materialized as the next great quarterback in the NFL, and it got Doug Peterson fired. There are a lot of things to like about Jacksonville, and I do like things about Jacksonville because I do think they now have stability in the organization with the head coach and the quarterback. I do think that the quarterback showed that he can adjust to a cast of characters. And because Peterson's an offensive coach, he's not going to get hired away and they're going to be stuck with some Todd Downing that's going to throw away all the progress that Trevor Lawrence has made. I think they've got some really nice players on defense. Josh Allen's a good player on defense. I like the first-round pick because Trayvon Walker, he's terrorized the Titans. Now, Luakon led the league in tackles this year, and Andre Sisco is a pretty good safety, and Tyson Campbell is a shutdown corner nobody ever talks about. But outside of that, Jacksonville, to me, they're just an average team. The only reason they won the division is because the NFL somehow ruled that Josh Dobbs ball that they called a fumble was a fumble when the Josh Allen ball was not a fumble. Now, I thought they were both fumbles, but to me, it's the same play. And the NFL just decided one week that, oh, we're going to call that a fumble, and the next week they're going to say, oh, that's an incomplete pass. And I'll get to that in a second. But the Jacksonville thing, you guys know that when I am worried about something or I am worried about someone, specifically someone the Titans are going to have to play or somebody that is in the Titans or Predators division, I will let you know about it. I am not worried about Jacksonville long term. They're a fine team. The second thing, that Josh Dobbs fumble that gave Jacksonville the division. I am not a conspiracy theorist, and I know a lot of people seem to think that I am, but for the most part, I think if an educated person in a position of power tells me, like, hey, this is why it is what it is, and their interest is not 100% in favor of lying, then I'm pretty open to the idea that that's the truth. Well, I just watched this Netflix documentary, Operation Flagrant Foul, which is the story about Tim Donaghy, the NBA ref that fixed the games and bet on the games and everything else. And basically, I don't want to ruin this for anybody, but basically, it really hints at the idea that this goes much further up the top to the NBA than just one rogue ref. But the FBI went to the NBA, and then the NBA went to the press, and all of a sudden, the NBA decided that they were going to set the parameters for what this was going to look like. And David Stern and the NBA said, nothing to see here. It was one ref. We take it seriously. Move on. Now, if you've listened to this program, you know that I think the NBA is crooked. I do not think football is crooked. I think football looks at its sport and says, no matter what we do, we have to play with the utmost integrity, because if we don't, then we lose everything that we have. The idea of football not having integrity is even stronger than somebody dying on the field, which is one of the biggest fears in the NFL. That's why the NFL has to suck it up and say, well, we got an Indianapolis Colts, Arizona Cardinals Super Bowl, and it is what it is. Would we want it to be the Cowboys? Yes. Would we want it to be Brady? Yes. But it is what it is. But you can't tell me after watching that documentary on Sunday morning, in which they make it pretty obvious that the NBA shades the business, that the NBA doesn't want 5-game series, they want it to go 6 or 7. You can't tell me that I can see that ball coming out of Josh Dobbs' hand and that they can definitively stand up and say, fumble, in which gives Jacksonville the AFC South and puts a much better television product out there for the league, Trevor Lawrence versus Justin Herbert, than Justin Herbert versus Josh Dobbs. Whereas a week and a half later, Josh Allen does the exact same thing with 8 minutes to go in the game against Cincinnati. If they rule that ball as a fumble, the game is over. Buffalo probably wasn't coming back anyways, but if they say that's a fumble, then all of a sudden everybody knows, pack it up, go home, it's over. Advertisers for the next 3 commercial breaks. Nobody's going to watch your ads. Everyone's going to turn to the TV, turn on Fox, and get ready for the NFC game. So you know the game is right there with that replay review. They go to commercial. They come back and say, oh, no, that was an incomplete pass. Gene, what'd you think? I thought it was a good call. Salute. Again, I'm not saying the NFL is crooked, because I couldn't watch the NFL, and I couldn't care about the NFL as much as I do if I knew it was crooked. But you cannot watch how those 2 replay reviews went down. The Josh Dobbs play against Jacksonville, the Josh Allen play against Buffalo, and you cannot come to the conclusion that it is that obvious that those 2 plays are different in any way. The ESPN referee in the booth, again, salute. Call was a good call. The ESPN referee in the booth immediately said, see, this is a good call, that this is a fumble on Josh Dobbs. And the CBS referee in the booth said, see, this is a great call that it was incomplete. It was the same play. And you and I both know, if the NFL had their druthers, and it was about which game they wanted to put on TV, and it was Josh Dobbs versus Justin Herbert, or Trevor Lawrence versus Justin Herbert, they're putting Trevor Lawrence on. And you and I know that if the NFL had their druthers and Buffalo falling apart against Cincinnati, if they could have won that game, or more so at least kept it close so that everybody would have been focused in on it, they'd have rather had that than it being a blowout with 8 minutes to go. The NFL can't totally control everything, but I don't see how those plays were any different. And in both instances, they took 35 seconds to review it, and they immediately said, with the CBS or ESPN rules expert in the booth, oh, this is a great call. Great review, great overturn, great keeping it on the field. It's just great. And that one really got up my tailpipe, too. 615-737-1025 is our phone number, 615-737-1025. Coach Bob Shoop will join us for the next hour. We'll get his thoughts. Again, I think the Titans are moving off of Ryan Tannehill. Are they? Is it as obvious as I think it is? We'll ask Coach Shoop that next. Stillman and Company, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
Stuck in work without a radio?
Wait a minute. Disastrous.
I hate that.
It's got to be there.
That's okay. Download the Game Nashville app or go to thegamenashville.com and listen live. We are Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
At Genesis Diamonds, it's not just a new year.
It's a new opportunity to bring you more choices, more value, more ways to celebrate your love. So we've expanded our selection of exquisite hand-picked diamonds from a half carat to 15 carats, all shapes, all sizes, all at our famous no middleman prices. This year especially, we know price matters, and we're committed to delivering the best value every day. We've also brought in even more exclusive designer jewelry, new cutting-edge fashion-forward rings, earrings, bands, bracelets, pendants, things you can't find anywhere else. And of course, Genesis is proud to offer a truly spectacular collection of luxury pre-owned Rolex timepieces. We have all the most popular models in stock with no wait list and no restrictions. Is this the year you reward yourself with a premier name and timepieces? Come to Genesis in 2023 and let our non-commissioned experts help you celebrate those important milestones. We guarantee the best value, the highest quality, and the strongest warranties and guarantees in the jewelry industry. Genesis Diamonds and luxury pre-owned Rolexes.
Hey guys, it's the new year. We popped the champagne, kissed at midnight, and it's time to make a new start. But if you aren't popping like you used to because of erectile dysfunction or low testosterone, maybe your new start should be making a call to the Tennessee Men's Clinic. You see, ED is just a medical condition affecting men of all ages. But the good news is that ED is highly treatable. In fact, the medical experts at the Tennessee Men's Clinic have successfully treated thousands of men, with ED treatments having success rates as high as 90%. And with a variety of ED treatment options, including acoustic wave therapy, they can likely find the right one for you. You might even find your cork is popping like it hasn't in years. Plus, their low T treatments are highly effective. So many men have experienced life-changing results, from increased energy to more productive workouts, feeling more rested, and enjoying a greater sex drive too. So make 2023 the year you get free of ED and low T. Make an appointment. Your initial visit is only $99 and includes a more comprehensive approach, including a testosterone lab panel and a medical consult. Call 615-208-9090 or go to TennesseeMen'sClinic.com. Visit our website to learn more, including side effects. Treatment sex start results vary.
Hey, it's Jared. If you're listening to us on I-24 towards Murfreesboro or I-65 towards Spring Hill, make sure you check out 106.3 for another great way to hear Nashville's best sports talk.
They say they'll get your biggest tax refund. Jackson Hewitt says your biggest tax refund guaranteed, and a chance to double your tax refund. Thousands in weekly prizes during the Double Your Refund sweepstakes. Your biggest refund times 2, twice the money, so forget about them. File your taxes on the double at Jackson Hewitt today. No purchase necessary to enter or win. Open to U.S. residents 18 or older who file a 2022 federal tax return. Promotion ends 4/2/23. Visit jacksonhewitt.com for rules.
This Game Center update is brought to you by the law offices of Amanda J. Gentry. The Nashville Predators are back on the Bridgestone Arena ice tonight as they host the Winnipeg Jets. The Preds are coming off a big third-period come-from-behind win over the Kings on Saturday night. Preds head coach John Hines on trying to carry over that momentum into tonight.
You know, taking that mindset and the preparation that we had into that game and the mindset throughout the game, you know, needs to come into play tonight, and it needs to be consistent. That's the word we've also talked about is, you know, we can see what it looks like when it's there, but our challenge now is to make sure that that's a consistent effort night in and night out.
The Preds currently sit 4 points out of a playoff spot as we approach the All-Star break. Puck drop for tonight is set for 7, with pregame at 6, right here on the Preds Radio Network. The Tennessee Titans continue the search for their next offensive coordinator. One name rumored for the job is off the board, as former Texans head coach Bill O'Brien has taken the OC job for the New England Patriots. And coming up tonight at 7:30 on 93.3 Classic Hits, Vanderbilt Hoops is in action as they host the Kentucky Wildcats. This update is brought to you by the law offices of Amanda J. Gentry. I'm Ian Safar for 102.5 and 106.3 The Game.
For more, follow us on Twitter at 1025 The Game or visit thegamenashville.com. Tonight, your Nashville Predators take on the Winnipeg Jets. Coverage begins at 6 on your home for Smashville. WPRT FM Pegram, WBUC HD2 Laverne, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game.
A Cromwell Media Station.
Where you have a voice.
He had a competent coaching staff. You just play terrible and you keep playing.
And we have strong opinions.
What a whiny freaking crybaby response.
This is Stillman and Company with Jared Stillman. Presented by TriStar Moving on Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Stillman & Company is delivered by TriStar Moving, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Streaming live on Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook Live. Thanks to Superbook Sports, live from the Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical Studios. Bridgestone Arena, Preds and Jets tonight. The coach, Bob Shoop, is here. Coach, 4 hours yesterday. Thanks for filling in.
I'm exhausted.
So what'd you think of 4 hours?
It was great. It was great. And Chase did a great job, and it was fun talking Titans football for 4 hours.
Okay, let's start right there. I am convinced this weekend it hit me. I think the Titans are moving off of Tannehill. Now, again, what I would do and what I think they're going to do are two totally different things. But I think they're moving off of Tannehill. Vrabel asked about Tannehill after the season, non-committal. Rand Carthon asked about Tannehill on Friday, pled the fifth. Amy Adams Strunk in her sit-down with Mike Keith alluded to big changes and tough decisions, and then kind of backed off of that a little bit, saying, oh, well, they'll have to evaluate it. You know, the typical, the owner basically saying, hey, you know, that's not my job. I'm just the owner. I'm just a fan. I'm not whatever. I think they're moving off of Tannehill. Your thoughts?
Let's look at the options. You know, first thing Rand Carthon said was men are fired in this business, fired and hired because of the quarterback position. So he acknowledges and recognizes the importance of the quarterback in the NFL. And if we're watching, you know, the 4 teams remaining in the playoffs, I think we should all acknowledge the importance of that position in the NFL, and I think we all know that. So last week I was the one saying I think they're going to move off Tannehill, and you made a case to me to say not to move off of him, and I am of the case to not move off Ryan Tannehill. Now, hold on. So what I think they need to look at is they need to look at Tannehill. And Rand Carthon, to everybody's point, I mean, he said, I need to study. He said I, not we. He kept saying I. It was very, very intentional, I thought, about saying I, meaning I need to get to know this person. I need to get to know this a little bit better, which I thought was impressive because he started to say we and then he said I. I definitely think this. He knows who Ryan Tannehill is. And if Joe Burrow were the quarterback of the Tennessee Titans, he would have answered that question significantly differently. We all understand that. So if you move off Tannehill, if Tannehill's not the option for you, what do you do? You know, is there someone in the draft that catches your fancy? Like I said, I think each of the guys in this draft, I think there's some really good prospects in this draft, but I think I heard a caller saying before, and if this guy or if that guy, I think there's ifs and buts to each of these guys in this draft. And I think it's just as likely that some guy you take in the 3rd or 4th round or late in the draft might be as good as, you know, Bryce Young, C.J. Stroud, or Will Levis, or Anthony Richardson. Each of those guys has flaws. I've seen their flaws. I've studied their game to a certain extent, coached against a few of them, recruited one of them. And if you don't like that, then you go to the free agent market. You go to existing quarterbacks in the NFL. And the names you've brought up are the older guys, Brady and Rodgers, 2 of the greatest of all time. There's no debating or arguing that. But do you want the 46-year-old version of Tom Brady or the 39-year-old version of Aaron Rodgers, which you would have to trade, you know, capital for? Or is it Trey Lance, as we talked about? And Trey Lance, to me, I put in the category of the rookie guys. Like, he's an unproven commodity to me. I'm not. But to your point, and you said this in the previous segment, there's not an individual in the industry who knows more about Trey Lance than the new general manager of the Tennessee Titans. So he's going to know that. So those are your options. Stick with status quo. You know, look at the free agent market, or draft a guy if there's someone that's there. And to me, I think there's the roster is flawed to the point that there's more than just the quarterback issue to be resolved. And I think, you know, I think Ryan Tannehill right now is the perfect. It's not a gap quarterback because he already is your quarterback, but he's the quarterback to take you through the 23 season and then, you know, move forward. And if that means drafting a guy this year and giving him that red shirt year that we've talked about from Malik Willis and others, so be it. And if not, I think the 24 quarterback class is a really impressive recruiting class as well, or draft class.
So here's the problem with that, though. If Tannehill is the starter, you're not going to be picking high enough in 24 because Tannehill's going to win too many games for the Titans to be picking high in the 24 class. So you can go ahead and forget about that if they decide to come back with Tannehill. I think that's part of the issue. Like, I think it's 50-50 right now of people that look at it and say, hey, run it back with Tannehill, or people that are move off of Tannehill, and then they never really truly have like a firm who they want to follow Tannehill. I feel like I am in the camp of running back with Tannehill, and that they are in the camp of it's time to move off. Even if we move to somebody bad, it'd be better to be bad than be what we were with Tannehill at quarterback.
You know, to your point, there is something about being better. It's better to be bad than be mediocre. You know, and I know that tanking is that's not a word that you use and things like that. But in some ways, it's better. You know, it's more benefit. What's better, to be the first team out of the playoffs or the team drafting first in the draft? I mean, seems, I know you don't do those things on purpose, but it makes sense in the position you're in. I call it that 8th seed in the NBA playoffs all the time. Just always drafts that middle of the road guy right there. And the thing about the quarterback position now, to me, I started thinking about this over the weekend and started thinking about all the comparisons. There's just a handful of guys that are in just rare air, man. I mean,
but you're not going to beat Joe Burrow. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
So whoever it is, and this is the list I think the Titans have: Tannehill, Brady, Rodgers, Carr, Jimmy Garoppolo, Baker Mayfield, Trey Lance. That is, I think, guys that could realistically be the starting quarterback of the Titans next year. None of those guys is beating Joe Burrow. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and if the model ultimately is the 49ers model, and it is, and Brock Purdy has played well, there's no doubt about that, but I've said this on this show, when you evaluate personnel from a coaching perspective, you always use the phrase, can we win because of this individual? Do we win with this individual? Or are we winning despite this individual? And in the 49ers organization, where it's run the ball first, play stifling defense, do those type of things, the 49ers candidly are winning with Brock Purdy. They're not winning because of Brock Purdy. They're winning because of George. But the problem with the Titans doing that is, other than Derrick Henry, I'm not sure that they have the pieces around him, that can be, that type of organization in 2023 specifically for Ryan Tannehill. Now, if you don't go the quarterback route, then you're using the 11th pick on an explosive receiver. You're using it on a program-changing left tackle. I mean, you could do those type of things. And I've talked about on the defensive side, game wreckers up front who get after the quarterback, or a lockdown corner. And I saw a mock draft today that had Paris Johnson to the Titans at 11. And I like Paris Johnson's game. I know him from Ohio State, and I think he's probably one of the top. It's to be seen over the next few months, but certainly one of the top offensive tackle prospects. Skoronski from Northwestern. Those guys are really, really good players.
I look at it like this, though, which is, just because they have other holes to fill doesn't mean that quarterback's not the most important decision facing the organization today.
Quarterback is always the most important decision facing the organization, and every organization. The guy who's playing quarterback is the most important.
You're a defensive coach, and it's all about, it's not all about quarterback, but it is.
In the NFL, it is.
What you're going to do at quarterback out before you start doing other stuff.
And to your point, I thought you were dead on with your evaluation and assessment of Rand Carthon in his interview, in his press conference, and in your interview with him. He seems like a bright guy. I mean, he's worked his way up he's impressive, and he's worked his way through the ranks. He's done the scouting piece. He's done all those type of things. And for him to take time out and say, I need to evaluate the quarterback position. And men are fired in this profession every day hired and fired because of the quarterback position, I think speaks volumes to that he recognizes it's important as well. I think he learned that from John Lynch, from Kyle Shanahan, and the people that he's been around.
Coach Bob Shoop is with us, 615-737-1025. We will get to your phone, 615-737-1025. Speaking of the quarterbacks, you coached the college game. You said you've recruited Will Levis. You coached against. Did you coach against Bryce Young?
Anthony Richardson and Bryce Young.
Yeah, I know you coached against Anthony Richardson this past year, and boy, I tell you, you guys should have won that game on defense. But I digress. Snapper issues, things happen in South Florida this year. But you've coached against them, you've recruited them, all those kind of things. Your evaluation on these guys, plus Trey Lance, because it does feel like there's a lot of smoke around the Lance situation. We'll get Coach Shoop's thoughts on that. We'll do that next. And your phones, 615-737-1025. Let me tell you about Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical. Those are my guys. They take great care of my home, and they have taken fantastic care of my home for years. So kick off the new year with new upgrades for your home. This month, when you buy something you need for your home, Hiller will give you something you want. Pick your prize. Get a free 55-inch TV, an Apple iPad, a Solo stove, or a Nintendo Switch when you purchase a new whole home generator or select new HVAC systems. Or get a free 55-inch TV, a Nintendo Switch, or Solo stove when you upgrade to a new tankless water heater. There's no better time to take care of your necessary home replacements than right now, and to do it with my friends at Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical, proud supporters of the Nashville Predators, the Tennessee Volunteers, and the Vanderbilt Commodores, all of Bob's teams. Call the Happy Face truck today.
Want the latest on college football and Nashville sports?
He looks like 1,000 quarterbacks I've seen in a college game.
Join Outkick 360's Chad Withrow every Friday at 5 with Stillman and Company.
The coaching staff kept him and got rid of the other guys.
He'll bring opinions and charisma for a full half hour every week.
If he's so great in the locker room, then give him a coaching gig.
Chad Withrow is presented by Two Rivers Ford. Custom order your new Ford from Two Rivers Ford on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Hey, it's Mike from Newton Chevrolet GMC. It's a new year, so I thought I would share my personal resolution with you. My resolution is to be able to hula hoop on the trampoline for 1 minute. This might be painful. Since I've had years of practice making resolutions, I thought I'd give you some tips on making yours. It should involve 3 key components. First, make it something new, like texting without using your thumbs. Second, make it easy, like reading more, or at least turning the subtitles on while binge watching Netflix. And third, make sure no matter what, that you buy your next new car from Newton. We want to make your purchase fast and easy with Newton FastPass. We'll even deliver the car to you. Remember, new, easy, and buy at Newton. I have a feeling this next year is going to be great. Shop at NewtonChevroletGMC.com to start your resolution today. See website for details. Put your resolutions in writing.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter.com/radio.
The Mina Kimes Show, featuring Lenny.
And we should know, and I assume you saw this, but it's too late to take back your pick.
I can tell you I saw that because I was the one that texted that to you.
Oh, I missed that. I can confirm you texted that to me, and I wrote back, damn, that would be huge. This was an hour and a half ago, in my defense. I've been busy.
Listen and subscribe to The Mina Kimes Show, featuring Lenny, wherever you listen to podcasts.
Want to see our smiling faces? You can watch us on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook Live.
We are good to go.
Presented by Superbook Sports, voted #1 sportsbook in Vegas. Strong opinions and a strong personality on your drive home. This is Stillman and Company, presented by TriStar Moving on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
What do you think of Ryan Tannehill, and is he your quarterback?
I don't think that's fair. At this point, we're still evaluating the roster. I am, and that's going to take further conversations with me and Mike. Ryan has been great here. He's won a lot of football games, and I look forward to us winning football games, but I still need more time, to evaluate and make those decisions. As you know, this is a quarterback-driven league, and people are hired and fired every day over that position. So I want to spend more time evaluating that position, so I'll have my own opinion, and Mike and I will confer and figure it out.
There you go. That was Rand Carthon pleading the fifth on Friday when asked about Ryan Tannehill. Very savvy way, by the way, of doing that by Rand Carthon. Coach Shoup is with us. I do wonder this. Again, every time somebody says they want to move off of Tannehill, I'm always like, okay, to whom? Brady, if you told me Brady wanted to come here, then that's a different story because you don't have to give up any draft pick for Brady, which I like. But then there's always that we'll draft somebody. People just say draft. And it hit me when I was listening to Tony Romo the other day, and he was talking about how Burrow might not be as talented as Josh Allen or Patrick Mahomes, and I thought, Joe Burrow was the #1 pick in the draft. Patrick Mahomes was the 10th pick. Josh Allen, I believe, was the 7th or the 8th pick. And so today, they may be ranked, these young quarterbacks. Bryce Young 1, C.J. Stroud 2, Will Levis 3. I saw the 33rd team, which is a bunch of ex-executives and coaches. I believe they have Will Levis going number 1 overall in their mock draft. So with that being said, you recruited these guys, coached these guys. If the Titans were to look at the QB market in the draft, and I think they will look, Bobby, what do you think of them?
I think to go first round 11 pick, you got to be surefire. I keep hearing if he develops, if he does this. I think maybe I'm looking at it a little bit differently. All those guys that you just mentioned, all the guys who are projected first round picks, do have high ceilings. I mean, they have ceilings that are high. There's no doubt. But I have concerns at where their floor is. And there's too many examples of guys who haven't made it. Zach Wilson most recently. And maybe the jury's still out. Maybe he does need something. They better do their homework. And if they fall in love with someone, take them.
Do you love any of these guys?
I like them all. I like them all, but I don't love them. I don't love them at 11 or higher, I suppose. And it's a quarterback-driven league, so more than one of them are going to be taken before 11, I assure you that. And the other thing to note, I would say, is that the fact of the matter is the two teams in your division are drafting 1 and 3 and are probably going to take them if you don't take them. So your decision may ultimately be made for you. Now, Bryce Young, I was at Miami and we played against Bryce Young. It was his first collegiate start. I'd seen some film on him from the previous years. He had backed up Mac Jones. I thought he was small. I thought he was frail looking in person. And he threw for over 300 yards that day against us. The ball comes out of his hands nicely. Comes from a great high school program, modern day in California. He's very, very polished, very composed. He can maneuver around the pocket, throw the ball. He isn't very big, and he isn't very he doesn't impress you with his appearance. He's just not very big. I mean, he's just not that way. But he can throw the football. And they had a 90-yarder to Jamison Williams, and he had some great weapons, don't get me wrong. But he's good. C.J. Stroud, the jury to me I hadn't seen as much of C.J. Stroud, and he's throwing to as good a receiving core as there is in all of college football. I mean, I do think that. And I think the skill at Ohio State, when I watch the skill at Ohio State, not necessarily as a team because Michigan did beat them, but the skill, the receiver positions, the running back, the tight ends, they're the real deal at Ohio State. They're at a different level than the rest of that conference. And he put up great numbers. And when the game, the two of the biggest games that he played were the playoff game this year against Georgia and the Rose Bowl against Utah last year were two of his best games. So he's very, very talented. He's very, very good. Again, I still have some concerns about him, but I think he's a good player. Will Levis, I've known Will since he was a high school sophomore. Will, went to Penn State initially. He couldn't beat out Sean Clifford. He got into the mix where he was kind of a situational quarterback. They put him in, snap him the ball, and kind of run him like a little bit of a Tim Tebow concept. He's a big, strong dude. This guy's huge. I mean, when I hear the executives in the NFL talk about him as 1-1 and things along those lines and compare him to Troy Aikman, I think they're talking about his appearance. And I do think 2021, he was on fire, man. At Kentucky, his first year that he transferred to Kentucky when he had Liam Cohen as his offensive coordinator who had some NFL experience working in the NFL with Stafford and things like that. I really think that was his best year. This year behind a bad offensive line and kind of not a very explosive offensive team, I think he struggled. I think he has some of the same problems that a guy like Josh Allen has. He throws the ball to the wrong team too many times, and that's what he ended up doing this year to a certain extent, and why Kentucky wasn't a little bit better on offense.
I cannot take you with the first overall pick if you could not throw for 200 yards and beat Vanderbilt at home.
I agree. So I'm saying each of these guys has warts. And Anthony Richardson, again, if this is a beauty contest or it's a punt, pass, and kick contest, he could throw the ball as far as anybody. He sure looks the part. I've seen him do things on the football field that looks like he's playing with his 6-year-old brother out there dominating. But I've also seen him do things. We weren't a very good defense at South Florida, and he threw two really bad interceptions against us. I've seen him have really good games, the game against Tennessee last year, and I've seen him have really bad games. I mean, and to me, when you're talking about an NFL quarterback, a franchise NFL quarterback that you're taking in the first round, I don't think we're looking for a guy who's going to have a good game against Jacksonville one week and a bad week against Indianapolis the next week, a good week against Houston next week, a bad week against whoever the next week. I mean, we're looking for a guy who we can count on is going to continue to develop and be very, very consistent. if you're looking for a name in the middle rounds, a guy we were talking about off air a second ago.
I do have Bob's sleeper picks right here.
And I don't think they're worthy of first-round picks. I think there's a lot of pretty good quarterbacks in this draft. But a guy that we played against who's in the American Conference this year is a really, really good player. Is a quarterback at Houston. You'll see in the Senior Bowl next week. Clayton Tune. Again, the American Conference this year, the American Athletic Conference, not the AFC, was just full of 5th and 6th year quarterbacks. 5th and 6th year quarterbacks who had taken their COVID year. And boy, it was a defensive coordinator's nightmare. Whether it's Clayton Tune at Houston, Pratt at Tulane, he was a great player. Holt Nailers at East Carolina. There were some really, really talented quarterbacks in the American Conference this year. Who certainly aren't in the discussion to be first-round picks, but you're going to see them in postseason All-Star games. You're going to see them at the Combine. You're going to see them have their individual pro days, and they're going to be on someone's roster. And I guess my point is, I'm not 100% sure that there's that much of a difference between the 4 guys that you're talking about as projected first-round picks and those guys who you might be seeing in the 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th round. And again, here we are. We're talking about we're going to have Trey Lance in this discussion where the 49ers took him at 3 in 2021. And, oh, yeah, by the way, the guy who's going to be the starting quarterback and maybe the franchise quarterback for the 49ers moving forward was taken at 256 in the 22 draft. So, we can say we know all this stuff. But I will say this about evaluating the quarterback position. Put the film on, first and foremost, and then you better talk to these guys. Get the 6 inches between their ears because that's what it is in the NFL. Though, Joe Burrow's the real deal, and he can make every throw and all that stuff, but Joe Burrow gets it. Joe Burrow is the man. He leadership, football IQ, all those things. So there better be something to this discussion. We can't just go watch some clever fancy throw on Twitter where a guy rolls to his left and throws back to his right and say, oh, my God, we got to draft that guy right there. That was the Zach Wilson throw or the Shadur Sanders throw from the other day on Twitter, things like that. Quarterbacking in the NFL is a full-time job and a real-life job that you better be ready. All the physical skills are great, but it's about accuracy, it's about maturity, and it's about leadership.
Where would you put Lance when discussing these young quarterbacks?
I don't know Lance as well as I know those other guys. I always get a little concerned about FCS quarterbacks, to be honest. We could say what we want, but he beat Missouri Valley Conference competition, and did well. He beat South Dakota, he beat whoever he beats right there, and those are great teams. But that ain't the SEC, man. That ain't the Pac-12. That's not the Big Ten right there. So, he does have the skill. He's big, strong, athletic. He can run, he can throw, and certainly. And he missed a lot of time in his college career too, and he's been hurt at the NFL level. So to me, he's I've seen glimpses, I've seen flashes, I've seen things where he's thrown the ball a long way to a guy, and I've seen runs that have been really impressive. But I think he has warts as well, and I think he's got a long way to go to prove himself as and I don't know him. I don't know that 6 inches between the ears that I just described, that football IQ, that toughness, that mentality, and that's when you watch the guys playing this weekend, they're ballers, man. Who's not? Jalen Hurts is a baller. That's the truth. Brock Purdy, he doesn't have maybe the physical skills of those, but he's a baller. Joe Burrow, same. No question about it to me. And Patrick Mahomes, same thing. Those guys are ballers. They're multi-sport athletes in high school. They're leaders. They played big-time college football. They're really, really – they're more than just a guy who can throw the ball really far or throw the ball really accurately. They do a lot of things that make those around them much better.
Coach Shoup is with us, 615-737-1025. We will get to your phones. The latest on the Titans offensive coordinator search, and we haven't heard a ton of movement. What do we make of it with Coach Shoup? We'll do that next. Stillman and Company, live from Bridgestone Arena, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
Hey, I'm Matthias Ekholm, and this is Smashville.
Ekholm is shot, he scores! Matthias Ekholm gets the Predators' third of the night.
You're listening to the flagship of the Nashville Predators radio network, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Hi guys, it's Mark with Hillside Medical Clinic. Are you struggling with erectile dysfunction and sick of the pills? Well, we have a major medical advancement that has helped thousands of men. Our wave technology is backed by 60 clinical studies, including from Cambridge University. It's been shown to increase blood flow by repairing blood vessels. No pills and no side effects. If you're ready to put a stop to your ED, call us now, and not only will the assessment and blood flow ultrasound be free, but will also include something unique that produces powerful results in the bedroom. You're going to love that one, guys. Trust me. This unprecedented offer is worth $600, but it's free to those who call in the next 2 minutes. Call 615-576-5000. That's 615-576-5000. Guys, put a stop to your erectile dysfunction and get your life back. Call Hillside Medical Clinic now to qualify. 615-576-5000.
Professional quilt maker Dana Balliard once said, "There are no rules in quilting, and if you think that there are, then it's time you try breaking a few." Now, I like that type of creative entrepreneurial spirit, and that's why I do my adult beverage trading at Red Spirits and Wine. It's not just a great selection of distilled spirits, single-barrel Red Select whiskeys, great wines from around the world, and awesome craft beers, but it's more the way the folks at Red just go about their business. At Red, they keep it interesting and fun, and the Cracker Jack crew makes you feel welcome after a hard day on the trail, never coming off like some of them snooty-nosed, big-talking whoop-de-doos. At Red, it's always square dealing with the best in service, selection, and prices. Plus, Red is locally owned by real folks, not some totally faceless corporation. There's no doubt in my mind, Red is my kind of place. Red Spirits and Wine, Highway 70 South and Old Hickory Boulevard. Check them out on Facebook, Instagram, and at redspirits.com.
Hey, it's Jared. Are you looking to move? If so, do yourself a favor and reach out to my friends at TriStar Moving. You can be assured your move will be stress-free because they've got new utility vans to help with pack jobs to separate your high-value or fragile items from the bulk of your furniture, and their movers are carefully picked and highly trained. No one in the game is doing this. TriStar Moving is raising the standard in the moving industry. When you're ready to move, give them a call. TriStar Moving, 615-640-1219, or online at nationalmoving.org/radio, and tell them Jared Stillman referred you for 10% off. That's TriStar Moving.
Join the Nashville Chamber of Commerce for YP Nashville Connect 2023. This Thursday, YP Connect will be in the East Club at Nissan Stadium. This after-hours trade show style event connects young professionals to community impact opportunities with YP Nashville member organizations. As the largest gathering of young professionals in Nashville, YP Connect is a great way to get you plugged into Nashville's expansive young professional community. Register online for the next event at NashvilleChamber.com. That's NashvilleChamber.com.
On the Wednesday edition of Chase and Michelle, we'll react to the Predators versus the Jets. Matthias Ekholm will join us at 9:30. Plus, we'll continue to look at potential candidates for the Titans offensive coordinator position. Join us starting at 9 right here on 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
Hey, Nashville, Trey Wingo here. You're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Mike, on filling the spots on your staff, offensive coordinator, have you talked to some guys yet, and how's that process coming?
I would say the process is going well. I'm excited with the numerous people that we've been able to meet and interview. That's been the bulk of my time has been doing that since the season ended, and excited where it's at, excited the ideas, and nothing really new to report, but we've had there's some spots that we have to fill.
There you go. That was Mike Vrabel last week. Coach Shoop is with us. They've interviewed Charles London from the Falcons, the quarterback coach. They've interviewed Tim Kelly, their passing game coordinator. They reached out for Eric Bieniemy and Matt Nagy, and I still think that's fairy tale land. What do we make of the Titans OC search? Bill O'Brien, who we thought could be in the mix with his ties to Vrabel, he's back to New England, so he's off the board. And Luke Steckel, the tight ends coach for the Titans, has interviewed with the Chargers for their offensive coordinator position. I'm obviously biased because I love the Steckles, but I would love that for Luke. But should he be in the mix here too if he's getting looks other places? What do we make of the latest with the Titans OC search?
Ivy grad, Luke. He's went to Princeton. So I tend to think, the more I research Tim Kelly, the more impressed I am with him, and I think he's ready to, I think he's the prime candidate for the job to me. I think he knows the system. He knows what Coach Vrabel wants. He has familiarity with the organization and Coach Vrabel. And as we talked about a little bit, I think Charles London's a guy who is in line for a promotion, maybe coming back as Tim's pass game coordinator, which in some cases is just a title, in some cases is significantly greater responsibility and probably a little bit more money in your pocket too. I know they were all together in Houston, And again, I don't have any problem with a head coach hiring people that he's familiar with. And I do think that Coach, Vrabel is doing his due diligence. When you try to talk to Bieniemy or you try to talk to Nagy, I think one of the things I've learned through being a part of these processes as an assistant coach and even as a head coach is you want to talk to people from different backgrounds than your own, schematically, strategically, and learn from them. Maybe there's something they get from Bieniemy. Maybe there's something they get from Nagy. Now, as to this point, I mean, Nagy and Bieniemy are pretty busy and haven't been in position to interview. And I don't know if there's any other candidates out there. I mean, I think I tend to think Steckel's probably not going to be a candidate. I'm not saying he should or shouldn't be, but I mean, I tend to think Tim Kelly is in the position over him. And I think also there's things, who are you going to bring in as the offensive line coach? What are you going to, the whole fit of the whole piece right there. And I don't know now, I assume that Ran Carthon will start to step in and be a part of these interviews as well. And collaboration was the key word last weekend, and let's see where we move forward from here.
How much does the next quarterback play a role into who the coordinator is going to be?
From input from the quarterback or from the person being interested in the job?
So I believe the Titans are moving off of Tannehill.
Okay.
Again, I wouldn't move off of Tannehill, but I think they're going to. Well, if they go, say, the Tom Brady route, that's different than going the Trey Lance route.
Yeah.
So how much does that play a role in who they hire as coordinator?
Oh, a great amount. And that's the chicken or the egg. I mean, so to me, I mean, you have to decide. You probably have to decide. I always say, as a coach, I think good coaches can tailor their scheme to their players without question. However, I think good coordinators have a style of play that they're comfortable and they're familiar with. So I think Coach Vrabel has to determine what style of play he wants, hire someone like that, and then they've got to decide the quarterback. Or you say, this is our quarterback, therefore this is going to be our style of play. We better find a coordinator who fits this style of play. I tend to think it's going to be the coach, not the quarterback, especially if it's Ryan Tannehill because – especially in this situation, because if it is Ryan Tannehill, he fits a lot of those systems. And if it's not Ryan Tannehill, you're not 100% sure who the quarterback's going to be. So you can't say, well, we'll wait till we get a quarterback and all that stuff. The thing I don't think there's a real hurry. I mean, there really isn't a real hurry. I know for the fans and for the media, it's anxious and it makes for good talk radio fodder and things like that. But it doesn't do Mike Vrabel a whole lot of good right now to rush through the process. Next week's the Senior Bowl, which is essentially a coaches' convention in Mobile. There's work to be done, scouting the Senior Bowl teams and things along those lines, and the prospects and the players. But there's a lot of interviews and little things like that go on behind the scenes. Then you got Super Bowl week, which there isn't a lot of football business being done. And then after that's where you're going to see by mid-February is where you're going to start to see coaching staff start to get filled. Those from the top to the bottom, and start to move forward with the business of the new year at that point. So I think Coach Vrabel's doing a good job being diligent. He's diligent, but he's not rushing the process. And you heard him use the word process in the interview that you just heard.
Do you think Bill O'Brien going to the Patriots takes them out of a potential Brady acquisition?
Well, I'm of the Brady not coming. He's not coming here anyway. Feeling. So I know you feel differently about that. I do. I thought that was the shot they had. If Bill O'Brien came here and could talk Tom into it, my gimmicky thought is make Tom the player coach and let him be the offensive coordinator. Which he, to a certain extent, you could see some of the things that he did. He collaborated quite a bit with Byron Leftwich in Tampa. They said that certainly the Super Bowl year and after that. I think I definitely think that's. I think Tom Brady wants to go somewhere that he's familiar with the people. Mike Vrabel being someone that he's very familiar with, certainly. And he wants to go somewhere where it's a perfect situation for him and somewhere where he's going to feel he's going to dictate the terms of where he ends up, obviously.
Our phone lines are driven by WilsonCountyHunter.com. A texter says, Bob, what do you think about Greg Roman if the Titans decide to go the route with Trey Lance?
Yeah, I mean, Greg Roman's been Greg Roman's an example to me of a guy who's tailored his scheme to what his players have been able to do. I mean, whether it was in San Francisco with Colin Kaepernick, when he was with Coach Harbaugh, or it was with the other Coach Harbaugh in Baltimore, tailoring his scheme to what Lamar Jackson's been able to do. But make no mistake, Greg Roman's been in some pro systems, more traditional pro systems too. Greg Roman's an outstanding offensive coordinator. He's very, very experienced. And to me, the weird thing, I don't know that I've ever seen a season like this. I know one of the hot topics on Twitter and top topics people is the Titans offensive coordinator job a good job? And there's two ways to answer that. first of all, is the obvious. Yes, there's only 32 of those jobs in the world, so it's a great job. But relative to the other 10 jobs in the league, it's going to be interesting to see how these things play out over the next few weeks. And hiring Greg Roman doesn't limit you to the thought that you're going to be the Baltimore Ravens style of offense. You know, he's an excellent coordinator who, like I said, I think one of his great skills is tailoring, you know, what he does to the players he has on his roster.
What do you think the Titans are internally with both the quarterback and the offensive coordinator positions? Do you think that they know what they want to do? Like when Rand Carthon gets up there and says, oh, I need to evaluate quarterback, there's no doubt in my mind that when Rand Carthon went into the meetings with Amy Adams Strunk, he said, this is what I want to do at quarterback. So he has an idea what he's doing. Do you think that they know what they expect themselves to look like next year, both at quarterback and coordinator right now, even though they're not going to tell anybody?
To a certain extent. I mean, I think they're certainly, I mean, again, there's no reason on January 24th. There's no reason they don't have to have these things solved on this day, so they don't need to rush to get into a decision.
What about the whole process with the other coaches at other teams? So right now, you know, your competitors could be hiring better coordinators than you are hiring right now because you're taking your time on it.
They seem to be taking their time too. I mean, yeah, don't get me wrong. I mean, I'm just saying I do think they have an idea, no question. I mean, I like I said, when Rand Carthon stood up there and said, I need to study Ryan Tannehill a little bit more, I mean, come on, man. He knows who Ryan Tannehill. Ryan Tannehill's not just some rookie who just fell off a turnip tree here. He's been around for a long time in the NFL. He's played in playoff games. He's been a successful quarterback at this level. Now, he's got to do a deeper dive than just being an executive on another squad now and coming in here because he's making real-life decisions for the Tennessee Titan organization. As far as the offensive coordinator position, I think there's things going on behind the scenes that we're unaware of, and I think every candidate is being compared closely to Tim Kelly. And I think Tim Kelly is the leader in the clubhouse, and every guy who comes in, the question is, does this guy make us better and we keep Tim in the role that he's in? Does this guy make us better? Does Tim Kelly make us better? We hire Charles London. We get this guy as the offense. It's not just as simple probably as the coordinator. It's probably the combination of the coordinator, the pass game coordinator, if you will, and the O-line coach. It's all three of those things in combined. Hey, Greg Roman, if we hired you, who you want as the O-line coach? Or Tim, what are we going to do with the O-line coach? I mean, well, I want this guy. I mean, there's all those things that are going on that it fits like a very, very intricate puzzle.
Are you surprised that we haven't heard more chatter? Like, the second one of these guys interviews, they're going right to Ian Rappaport and saying, hey, you know, their agent is saying, hey, my guy just interviewed with the Titans. And instead, we've heard they tried to reach out to two people, and they have interviewed two people, and that's it.
I think this process is going to be accelerated in the next 5 to 7 days. I say it again. I mean, you know, the NFL world converges on Mobile starting next week for a week, and then business closes down the Super Bowl week, so you can have all your, you know, the things leading up to the Super Bowl. But I think it would surprise me if this process isn't completed in the next, you know, 7 to 10 days. And if I know Coach Vrabel, he's very specific and very diligent and very he's gonna take his time, and this is arguably the most important decision he's going to make, you know, in the course of his career thus far.
How does Rand Carthon affect the offensive coordinator search?
He's a part of it. I got to believe he's a part of it. He's the face, you know, he's the leader of the organization right now. And
co-leader.
If he's the co-leader of the organization, I think he's going to impact this. And I think the one thing that could be, if you're looking for maybe something in the tea leaves, if you're not hearing a lot, maybe there's somebody that is still playing that we're not hearing about. Maybe that's something along those lines. And, you know, but to your point, I mean, you know, it's the agents. I've said this before. The agents have changed everything in this profession in the last handful of years. The agents, you know, get out to Ian Rappaport and say, hey, my guy just did this. My guy, sources say this, that. I got news for you. The sources, most of the time, the sources are the agents.
And normally they only tell those guys what they want them to hear.
What they want them to hear and about their guy.
And what they want them to say.
Absolutely.
And a reporter's job is to report. And so, again, I'm with you probably leaning towards Tim Kelly, but this time last week I started yelling and screaming about how their interview process for GM was a sham, so I think I'll probably sit this one
And the
out.
second we got off the air.
As soon as we got off the air. We'll get to your phones next on all this. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. Coach Bob Shoop is with us. 615-737-1025. And then there's the Aaron Rodgers. We talked about Brady. There's Aaron Rodgers, because apparently everybody thinks Aaron's in play. We'll get Bob's thoughts on that, and we'll go right to your phones. Stillman and Company, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
Your home for MTSU basketball is 94.9 The Fan.
Three ball, yes, sir!
All the big shots and moments live here. MTSU basketball is on a station built for you. 94.9 The Fan.
At Genesis Diamonds, it's not just a new year. It's a new opportunity to bring you more choices, more value, more ways to celebrate your love. So we've expanded our selection of exquisite hand-picked diamonds from a half carat to 15 carats, all shapes, all sizes, all at our famous no middleman prices. This year especially, we know price matters, and we're committed to delivering the best value every day. We've also brought in even more exclusive designer jewelry, new cutting-edge fashion-forward rings, earrings, bands, bracelets, pendants, things you can't find anywhere else. And of course, Genesis is proud to offer a truly spectacular collection of luxury pre-owned Rolex timepieces. We have all the most popular models in stock with no wait list and no restrictions. Is this the year you reward yourself with a premier name and timepieces? Come to Genesis in 2023 and let our non-commissioned experts help you celebrate those important milestones. We guarantee the best value, the highest quality, and the strongest warranties and guarantees in the jewelry industry. Genesis Diamonds and luxury pre-owned Rolexes.
Want to kick off the new year without any credit card debt? If that sounds good to you, you can do it with Loan Pronto's Express Equity Line of Credit. Wipe out all those credit card bills right now. Hey, Willie Donick here. Rates are down, and it's a great move to get on more solid financial footing for the new year. You don't have to do a full home refi. You can tap a portion of the equity you have and enjoy a rate that's a whole lot less than what the banks charge on credit cards. With Loan Pronto's Express Equity Credit Line, you can close in 7 to 10 days. You can access up to 95% of your home's equity. Use that money to pay off those high-interest credit card loans of any type. Credit cards, personal loans, car loans, whatever. Consolidate everything into one easy payment. Even if you did a whole total refi last year, you can tap the equity with this fast, easy program and keep your main loan intact. Call Loan Pronto, 615-499-5780. That's 615-499-5780, or go to loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval.
If you've been watching the NFL playoffs on the sidelines, there is still time to get in the game with FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. Joe Rexford here to let you know. New customers, bet this Sunday's conference championship games with $150 in free bets guaranteed when you place your first $5 bet. All you got to do is sign up with promo code Joe102. Look, if I was making a bet on this one, I tell you what, I like the Bengals a lot. If I was going to do a parlay, I'd go Bengals. I'd go mix an anytime touchdown. I'd go under at Kansas City. You do whatever you want. Just know that FanDuel has your favorite bets, money line, point spreads, player props, but you can combine them for a bigger payout with a same-game parlay, all on an app that's safe, secure, and very important to me, very easy to use. Football fans, don't miss out. Place your first $5 bet. You get $150 in free bets, win or lose, with promo code Joe102. Make every moment more with FanDuel, official sportsbook partner of the NFL. You must be 21 and older, present Tennessee. First on the real money wager only. $10 first deposit required. Bonus issued is now $1 free bets, expiring 14 days. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call the Tennessee Red Line 800-889-9789.
A show that lives and breathes sports.
Focus in, focus in, focus in.
From the SEC
Credit to the Alabamas, the Georgias, and the Ohio States of the world.
to the Preds,
They've been in a lot of really tight games, but they're not winning enough of them.
to the Titans.
He's talking about what this franchise has built over the years.
Caroline, Willie, and D-Mace.
What is this? Check it out.
Weekdays from 11 to 2 on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app. You're listening to Stillman and Company, presented by TriStar Moving on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Because the decision has been made, you're getting traded by sports media as of this morning. And I feel like there's another decision that has to be made before any of that can take place. Where are you in that stance, and are you in the middle of that process still?
Usually you would think they would wait until maybe the off week between the championship weeks and the Super Bowl to drum up some storylines, because there is, 2 great games this Sunday and obviously 4 really deserving teams to be playing. I have, some people that love to track that stuff, so I've been made aware of it.
Aaron Rodgers, apparently he's on the market. Peter King says that he believes Green Bay wants 2 first-round picks in return for Aaron Rodgers. Again, you can want whatever you want. And that he thinks the Jets and their owner, Woody Johnson, would be happy to pay it in order to get Aaron Rodgers. Coach Shoup is with us. You think the Titans, Coach Shoup, you think they are in the mix on Aaron Rodgers?
I do not. I can't imagine coming in your first order of business is the new GM is 2 first-round picks or some significant big trade to get Aaron Rodgers. I don't see Aaron Rodgers coming to the Tennessee Titans, and I don't see him as a fit in the culture that. And culture is a big word. I know we've talked about that a lot. I mean, in the culture that they're trying to create with Rand Carthon and Coach Vrabel, the collaborative, the co-leadership piece right there, I just don't see that being a fit. And Aaron Rodgers, in and of himself, is still a great talent. Obviously, I mean, he's but I just don't see that being a fit for the Tennessee Titans.
I will say this: if Rodgers and Brady return and they don't go back to the same spots that they were in last year, they have to play somewhere. I mean, I know it's easy to come up. I can come up with a reason for every team why those guys shouldn't play for that team. But they will have to play somewhere. And there's only 32 teams.
No doubt. And they're certainly 2 of the best 32 quarterbacks in the world. And certainly 2 of the top, let's take it even further, 2 of the top 15 quarterbacks in the world. Even at their age and their skill set. I think Aaron can still do all the things on the field. Every game he does something that you just shake your head and go, wow, how did he make that throw? Or what did he do there? And certainly Tom Brady, Father Time certainly caught up to him. We all acknowledge that. My biggest concerns with Tom Brady and his ability to be a Titan, I see some of the same things that concern me about Ryan Tannehill. His inability, and the arm strength is still there. The accuracy, I do believe, is still there. I think the things that have affected him this year is what made him good throughout the course of his career was his short area quickness. For a guy who's not necessarily a great athlete, he's a guy who's able to move his feet, maneuver around the pocket, and I think that's the area that his game has diminished the most. And some of the same flaws in the Tampa Bay roster, the same flaws in the Titans roster. I think a bad offensive line, a bad left tackle, I think those are things that prevented Tom Brady from really being the best version of himself. And he threw for a ton of yards this year. I do understand that. But they also threw almost every play at some point. I mean, their run game was non-existent. They were last in the NFL in run offense, and he threw for a lot of yards.
I promised your phones. TD, Teron Davenport texted me, said, I really like Coach Shoup's takes, but here's what I would consider doing if I were the Titans. I would trade back in the draft from 11 to acquire another first-round pick along with more capital. I'm thinking probably a first-round pick in next year's draft. Trading out of the 11th overall pick, keep Tannehill for 23, then trade up in 24 to get Caleb Williams preferably, and also Drake May in the mix as well. What do you think of that plan?
I think that's okay. Like I said, I think that's part of what Rand Carthon is doing right now. I mean, the people in his charge are certainly responsible for any free agent quarterback that there is in the NFL. They're responsible for knowing every quarterback in the 2023 draft class. But if they're really good at what they're doing, they know the 2024 draft class as well. And that 2024 draft class, to me, has more surefire bets than I think the 2023. The 2023 draft class has a lot of quarterbacks. And I think there's some really good quarterbacks that the value for them might be round 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. But I think the 2024 draft class, like I said it before, Caleb Williams, Bo Nix, Drake May, Michael Penix. I mean, there's some really, really, there's some more surefire, first, second round talent in that 2024 draft than the 2023 draft.
What do you think about Drake May?
I do like Drake May. I think, again, he sat behind Sam Howell. I think he needs another year. And if he develops like he did this year, I think Drake May has a chance to be a really, really good player. He looks the part of an NFL player, and he had Phil Longo was his offensive coordinator, who's moved on to Wisconsin. But Drake May is a very, very talented guy, and to me, it will be projected certainly as a top 15 pick in the 2024 draft.
Ron says the Titans need to do all they can to get the quarterback of the future this offseason. If they miss the opportunity this year, I believe that they will pay a lot more for a QB in the following season or seasons. Is it worth the wait?
I'll say it again. I mean, these guys know more. Rand Carthon, Tim Kelly, Mike Vrabel, they know more about this than we do. I mean, they do. I mean, they've got to do their homework. If they fall in love with someone, take them. I mean, if they're certain that Will Levis, if they're certain that C.J. Stroud, if they're certain that Bryce Young, Anthony Richardson are the quarterback of the future, go for it, man. I mean, go for it and be convicted about it. But I hear a lot of people say if this, though, or if that. And to me, there's some ifs with each of those guys. There's less ifs to me with some of the free agents that may be out there. There's less ifs with Ryan Tannehill for the 2023 season to me.
But weren't there ifs with Josh Allen?
Yeah, for sure.
His accuracy as a passer, Wyoming to the NFL. With Patrick Mahomes, there were a lot of ifs. There were questions why he didn't win more in college.
I don't know if there were a lot of ifs with Patrick Mahomes. I mean, people knew. I thought Patrick Mahomes was a sure thing. I think, and you and I disagree a little bit on Trevor Lawrence. I think Trevor Lawrence is going to take off next year. And
I think Trevor's fine.
Joe Burrow. But I think Josh Allen.
I don't think he's Joe Burrow. I think Joe Burrow is the man.
Oh, Joe Burrow. I've already, Chase and I talked about this yesterday on the show. I think I'm taking the Bengals over the Chiefs in Arrowhead this weekend, and it's hard for me not to say if Joe Burrow, gets to 4-0 against Patrick Mahomes, that he's not the best quarterback in the world. And there are those who believe that now, and I've seen it with my own two eyes, live and in person on 2 different occasions. So I promise you, I think Joe Burrow's the real deal. So I'll say it again: if you fall in love with Will Levis, C.J. Stroud, Bryce Young, go for it, man, and go for it with everything that you got. I'm just giving my professional opinion. For every Josh Allen who makes it or doesn't, who makes it, there's another guy. There's a Zach Wilson who was taken at number 2 in the draft, who the Jets are moving on from.
Did you love Justin Herbert? Like when he was coming out, did you see what he is now? Did you see that becoming a thing?
I didn't know. Again, I never coached against Oregon, so I didn't have that familiarity with Justin Herbert. But watching him, from afar at Oregon and then his rookie year, and I've studied him to a certain extent. I think he's in that rare air of those young guns of the 2020s. I mean, I think this, But
did you think it ahead of time? It's easy to think it now, but did you think that before? The key, if you're picking 11th and you're going to find the quarterback of the future, to me, the key is that you have to see it before everybody else does. Whichever guy it is, the Titans have to see it before everybody else does. And that's where I struggle with a little bit, is can Mike Vrabel, a defensive coach, spot what somebody is going to be like Andy Reid, an offensive coach, did with Patrick Mahomes?
And we talked about that. And candidly, I think as a defensive coach, I think you do often see things on offense because you're going against it all the time. So I don't think there's anything to it. But as Chase and I talked about yesterday, I think one of the things that is kind of interesting, you look at these final 4 teams, and there is a unique formula to these 4 teams that are in the semifinals of the playoffs, to the conference championship games. It's offensive head coach and experienced defensive coordinator.
I mean, I think as far as the offensive coaches are concerned, I think it's a tough spot to be in because the second that you have a good offensive coach, he's going to go be a head coach somewhere else.
That's right.
And so unless your head coach is the offensive coordinator, or unless your offensive coordinator is the head coach, you're going to lose him if you've got a good one. And that's what makes it hard to be, continuously good in the NFL.
That's what's different about the college game than the pro game, because the college game, the head coach has to wear so many hats. He's got to be the general manager. He's got to manage so many issues that, the relationships with the players. He's got to manage the staff. He's got to manage recruiting. He's got to manage public relations. In the NFL, it's football. I mean, it's football, man. And if you can call plays on offense and you're creative and you're smart, boy, you could be like I said. I mean, there's a business model going on right now, and it's these young, smart, really ahead of the game offensive head coaches, getting jobs and kicking ass.
Coach Bob Shoop is with us, 615-737-1025. Great stuff, Coach. Coming up next, though, Derrick Henry, in my opinion, got some validation over the weekend. I'll explain. We'll get to that. Stillman and Company live from Bridgestone Arena, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
You watch the game.
Sliding across, making the stop, UC Cerro.
We talk the game.
That wraparound goal by Sanford was a beaut.
Tanner Janot, Ryan Johansson gets on the board.
We are the game. Nashville's best sports talk. 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
In football, we all take our hits, but protection keeps you in the game. That's why we always wore our helmet and our pads on the field. Life, too, comes at you with risks. So I got vaccinated and boosted for COVID-19. Hi, I'm former Tennessee Titans wide receiver Chris Sanders. Talk to your doctor and get the information that you need to make the informed choice. Gear up. Tennessee, protect yourself and family against COVID-19.
More information at nflagearup.org/Tennessee.
Prescription products require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if a prescription is appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for full details and important safety information. Subscription required.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same but is 90% cheaper? And you can get it online? Just go to 4hims.com/radio. At Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and trusted generic alternatives to the biggest brands at 90% off. That's right, get generic for Viagra, the same active ingredient as brand name Viagra, but 90% cheaper. It's the same medication you get from your doctor, but with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, 4hims.com/radio. That's 4hims.com/radio for your free online visit. FORHIMS.com/RADIO.
Losing your hair? It's Chase McCabe. No matter your age, gender, or type of hair loss, it's never a good feeling when you see too much hair in your brush or you begin to notice bald spots. For 45 years, Hair Club has helped more than 500,000 members get hair they love. If you're affected by hair loss and not sure what to do, let Hair Club help customize a solution for you. For a limited time, get 10% off when you book a free consultation today and get started at hairclub.com/chase. That's hairclub.com/chase.
O'Reilly. Protect your engine against sludge and wear with a synthetic oil change. O'Reilly Auto Parts has 5 quarts of Mobil 1 full synthetic motor oil for $35.95. Plus, get 2 times O Rewards points. Our professional parts people can recommend the supplies you need, including a filter, funnel, shop towels, drain pans, and more. Stop by O'Reilly Auto Parts or visit O'ReillyAuto.com.
O'Reilly Auto Parts. Third and Home is Germantown's bar with a ballpark. Overlooking the Nashville Sounds, you can have the best seats in the house when baseball season returns March 31st. Pro tip, stop by before the game to watch batting practice from the patio and enjoy happy hour food and drink specials. The mouth-watering menu at Third and Home includes signature items such as wings, stuffed breadsticks, classic burgers, and hot chicken and waffles. Third and Home is open Wednesday through Sunday at 11 a.m. Visit thirdandhome.com.
Now, your Game Center update.
This Game Center update is brought to you by the law offices of Amanda J. Gentry. The Nashville Predators are back on the Bridgestone Arena ice tonight as they host the Winnipeg Jets. The Preds are coming off a big third period come-from-behind win over the Kings on Saturday night. Preds head coach John Hines on trying to carry over that momentum into tonight.
Taking that mindset and the preparation that we had into that game and the mindset throughout the game, needs to come into play tonight, and it needs to be consistent. That's the word we've also talked about is, we can see what it looks like when it's there, but our challenge now is to make sure that that's a consistent effort night in and night out.
The Preds currently sit 4 points out of a playoff spot as we approach the All-Star break. Puck drop for tonight is set for 7, with pregame at 6, right here on the Preds Radio Network. The Tennessee Titans continue the search for their next offensive coordinator. One name rumored for the job is off the board as former Texans head coach Bill O'Brien has taken the OC job for the New England Patriots. And coming up tonight at 7:30 on 93.3 Classic Hits, Vanderbilt Hoops is in action as they host the Kentucky Wildcats. This update is brought to you by the law offices of Amanda J. Gentry. I'm Ian Safar for 102.5 and 106.3 The Game.
For more, follow us on Twitter at 1025 The Game or visit thegamenashville.com. Live from the Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical Studios. WPRT-FM Pegram, WPUC HD2 Laverne. Nashville's exclusive home for the Nashville Predators. 102.5 and 106.3.
A gutty performance. Do your job.
And the Tigers regain the lead.
The Game.
A Cromwell media station.
Where you have a voice.
He had a competent coaching staff. You just play terrible and you keep playing.
And we have strong opinions.
What a whiny freaking crybaby response.
This is Stillman and Company with Jared Stillman. Presented by TriStar Moving on Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Stillman & Company is delivered by TriStar Moving, 102.5, 106.3 The Game, streaming live on Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook Live, thanks to Superbook Sports, live from the Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical Studios. Bridgestone Arena tonight, Preds and Jets. Puck drop at 7 o'clock. So I think Derrick Henry got some serious validation over the weekend. Ian, do you know what that was?
Not exactly.
I believe that when the Cincinnati Bengals went into Buffalo and beat the Buffalo Bills, that provided Derrick Henry with some validation. And you're thinking, what do you mean by that? What does Cincinnati beating Buffalo have anything to do with Derrick Henry? Anytime the Titans lose, no matter how they lose, the discussion the next day around the country is, I don't think you can win with a team that is built around a running back. This is not 1974. You cannot win with a team that is built around a running back. Titans need to move off Derrick Henry because you can't win with a team built around a running back anymore. That's what everybody says every time the Titans lose any kind of game of importance. They lose to the Ravens in the playoffs because Corey Davis gets hurt and Ryan Tannehill misses a wide-open Cameron Batson. And all of a sudden it's up. Derrick Henry's no good anymore. They lose last year to the Bengals, in which the Titans ran for 120 yards. But the quarterback threw 3 interceptions. And it's, I don't know if you can win with a team built around Derrick Henry. This Titans team, terrible offensive coordinator, no offensive line, tons of injuries and inconsistencies at the receiver position, no help in the secondary, Danico Autry missing a lot of the back end of the schedule, and this team was still playing for a chance to make the playoffs the last week of the year, a game in which he carried the ball 30 times for 100-plus yards and came off the field the play that Josh Dobbs fumbled the ball and the lead and the playoffs away. And yet, everybody's going to say, I don't think you can win with a team that's built around a running back. Over their careers, Derrick Henry has lost in 1 wild card round against the Ravens in 2020, 2 divisional rounds last year against Cincinnati and 2017 against the Patriots, 1 AFC Championship game 2019 against the Chiefs. That's it. Josh Allen, the quarterback of the Bills, in his career after losing in a divisional round at Cincinnati, has now lost in 1 wild card round to Houston in 2019, 2 divisional rounds last year to Kansas City, this year to Cincinnati, and 1 AFC Championship game 2 years ago to the Chiefs. So why are we not having the discussions on TV every time Buffalo loses a game of, can you build a team around Josh Allen? You know why we're not having those discussions. Because Josh Allen plays quarterback. So you're telling me, well, Josh Allen's more important than Derrick Henry because Josh Allen plays quarterback and Derrick Henry plays running back. Let me ask you, can you win with Kirk Cousins? How about Dak Prescott? How much can you win with Dak Prescott? I said this to Bob earlier when we were off the air. There was a ball that in the middle of the slot, Fred Warner, a linebacker, did a great job covering a true number 1 receiver, CeeDee Lamb. And the ball was incomplete, and it was a great play by Warner. But if Dak makes a better throw, it's above Warner's head no matter how good the coverage is. It's above Warner's head, and the ball is right in the hands of CeeDee Lamb. Joe Burrow makes that throw. That's the difference. So we have talks about, oh, can you build a team around Dak and win? But he doesn't win as much as Derrick Henry. Where is the discussion about Josh Allen? Where is the, they're paying $43 million a year to Josh Allen. For those of you out there that believe in the salary cap, and you know that I don't because the cap is fake, we don't ever hear about, how can you pay a quarterback $43 million if he can't get you over the hump of beating Cincinnati? He can't get you past the divisional round. How dare you pay a quarterback $43 million? Nobody's saying that. We live in a world where Kyler Murray gets $46 million and he freaking never wins anything. Derrick Henry, the second the Titans lose a game, it is, oh, you can't pay a running back that much money. You can't have that much of the fake cap. You cannot have that much money dedicated to Derrick Henry. You can't do it. No way. No, sir. And somebody tweeted me because I tweeted this out the other day. And I said that just look at their careers. Derrick Henry, Josh Allen. 1 wild card, 2 divisional rounds, 1 AFC championship game. And somebody said, what are you trying to say here? What I'm trying to say is that it is ridiculous that every time the Titans lose, it has to become a referendum about whether or not Derrick Henry is a franchise player. He absolutely is a franchise player. He is headed to the Hall of Fame, and he belongs in the Hall of Fame. And so I struggle with this idea that you can't win with Derrick Henry. I mean, the Titans, and you know I love them, but the Titans have had their flaws since before Derrick got here, through the Derrick era, and they have them now. They have problems on the offensive line. They have problems at wide receiver. They don't really have a true tight end, and they haven't for 2 years, a true number 1 starting tight end. Their defense has been shaky at times, although they played great in the playoff game against Cincinnati. Derrick Henry's not the problem. Derrick Henry's fine. You can win with Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry and Ezekiel Elliott were drafted in the same year. Their careers are not similar. Derrick Henry has had a much better career. He's still got it. He was 3rd in the league in rushing. Don't do this whole thing where we sit down every time the Titans lose a game and blame it on Derrick Henry. Is it harder to win with a running back when you're down by 22 points? Sure, because it's harder to run for 300 yards than it is to pass for 300 yards. But let's worry about not getting down by 22 points in the first place. Let's worry about blocking for Derrick Henry. Let's worry about catching the ball on the plays that Derrick Henry doesn't run it before we start sitting there every time the Titans lose and analyzing the validity of the best player in the history of the Tennessee Titans. And here's the other thing that I think people need to understand. Did you see what Cincinnati's game plan was on Sunday? They ran Joe Mixon and Samaje Perine as much as they wanted to. The truth is, and this is why Josh Allen and Derrick Henry have finished in the same spots in their career. Josh Allen needs a running game, and Derrick Henry needs a passing game. Because these defenses are too good. These coordinators are too good. And the competition, when you get to the level that Josh Allen and Derrick Henry get to, is too good for you to be able to get past it if you're a one-dimensional team. Kansas City is a little different because they don't run the ball very much. But boy, when they needed to on Saturday, Isaiah Pacheco got that ball. Derrick Henry needs a passing game. Worry about fixing that instead of complaining about Derrick Henry. Josh Allen needs a running game. Worry about that instead of Stephon Diggs over there on the sidelines with his hands in the air demanding the ball or wondering why Allen didn't play well against Cincinnati. I love Joe Burrow. You all know that. I think Joe Burrow's the best quarterback in the league, although Mahomes is so good. And what he did on Saturday with that ankle, I mean, Mahomes, I don't want to pick between the two, but I love Joe Burrow. But Cincinnati ran the ball. San Francisco runs the ball. Rand Carthon made a comment on Friday about playing Golden State Warriors football in September and October. But if you want to win in December and January, you got to run the ball. San Francisco runs the ball. Philadelphia absolutely runs the ball. Buffalo doesn't. So to me, the next time the Titans lose and you flip on the TV and you start hearing I don't know if you can win with a running back. Just ask yourself, can you win with Josh Allen? Somebody tweeted me, actually it was one of my friends, tweeted me the other day when I sent out there that Derrick Henry and Josh Allen had, won the same amount. And he said to me, he tweeted and said, I would take Josh Allen over Derrick Henry 10 times out of 10. And my response to that was, well, you're going to win the same amount. Because Josh Allen has won the same amount in his career as Derrick Henry has won. So all this talk, and this will happen. Look, Jacksonville is going to be predicted to be the favorites to win the division, even though their schedule will get infinitely harder, having to play Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, and Joe Burrow, and the Titans will not this upcoming season. They're going to pick 24th, not first. Everybody's going to pick Jacksonville to be number one in the division, and everybody's going to say when it comes to the Titans, can't win with a team built around a running back. I don't think they'll pick Buffalo not to win the AFC East. And I don't think they'll say, can't win with Josh Allen. But again, Josh Allen and Derrick Henry have won the exact same amount in their career. So, it's that simple. Again, Derrick Henry's not the problem. Just like Josh Allen's not the problem in Buffalo. Get him a running game. Get Derrick a passing game. See what happens. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. We'll get to your phones on this. 615-737-1025. TD just texted me and said, man, you are preaching on this one. This one gets me. It drives me crazy. Every time I turn on the TV after the Titans lose a game. Can't win with Derrick Henry. I'm like, they win a lot more than a lot of other teams do with Derrick Henry. 615-737-1025. There is a lot of chatter about should the Titans move off Derrick Henry. I think Rand Carthon put that to bed. And I think that this is a good example of what I believe the Titans need. I will explain that. And then we're to your phones next. Stillman and Company, 102.5-106.3 The Game.
185! Every team needs a quarterback.
185! Take!
That's why we have
Hasselbeck, bootleg, rollout, toss, touchdown!
Tim.
You can run good plays at the right time.
ESPN NFL analyst Tim Hasselbeck gives his expertise on all things NFL.
You evaluate players, and then you're turning them over to the coaching staff.
Every Tuesday at noon.
At the right time.
With Caroline, Willie, and D-Mace. Tim on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
In St. Pete, Clearwater, Florida, the fun extends beyond the beach because here the arts are alive, the food is al fresco, and the nightlife is electric. So let's forget the cold and find our place in the sun. Let's explore captivating collections at the Salvador Dali Museum and bask in bay views from the St. Pete Pier. Let's fill up on fresh caught cuisine and catch up over cold craft beer on rooftop patios. Day or night, let's shine. Plan your escape at visitstpeteclearwater.com.
At Genesis Diamonds, it's not just a new year. It's a new opportunity to bring you more choices, more value, more ways to celebrate your love. So we've expanded our selection of exquisite hand-picked diamonds from a half carat to 15 carats, all shapes, all sizes, all at our famous no middleman prices. This year especially, we know price matters, and we're committed to delivering the best value every day. We've also brought in even more exclusive designer jewelry, new cutting-edge fashion-forward rings, earrings, bands, bracelets, pendants, things you can't find anywhere else. And of course, Genesis is proud to offer a truly spectacular collection of luxury pre-owned Rolex timepieces. We have all the most popular models in stock with no wait list and no restrictions. Is this the year you reward yourself with a premier name and timepieces? Come to Genesis in 2023 and let our non-commissioned experts help you celebrate those important milestones. We guarantee the best value, the highest quality, and the strongest warranties and guarantees in the jewelry industry. Genesis Diamonds and luxury pre-owned Rolexes.
Join the Nashville Chamber of Commerce for YP Nashville Connect 2023. This Thursday, YP Connect will be in the East Club at Nissan Stadium. This after-hours trade show style event connects young professionals to community impact opportunities with YP Nashville member organizations. As the largest gathering of young professionals in Nashville, YP Connect is a great way to get you plugged into Nashville's expansive young professional community. Register online for the next event at NashvilleChamber.com. That's NashvilleChamber.com.
Hey, it's Hutton. Interest rates are rising, but not at Spring Hill Heating and Cooling. Replace your old unit fast before new regulations increase prices up to 20%. Get a new unit today at today's price and receive up to $1,500 off or get 18 months of no payments. That's right, no payments until summer 2024. At Spring Hill Heating and Cooling, all new systems come with a 10-year parts and labor warranty. Spring Hill Heating and Cooling, servicing southern Middle Tennessee. Schedule your appointment now at springhillac.com. That's springhillac.com.
Social Furniture's tax refund sale is going on now. You will save up to 50% in every department. Huge markdowns. You don't want to miss this opportunity to make your home spectacular. We have everything for your home in stock with no waiting. And hassle-free same-day delivery makes it easy. Pay no money down and pay no interest for 1 full year during Social Furniture's tax refund sale. Don't wait. Come in today. Social Furniture on Charlotte Avenue in the Richland Creek Shopping Center. And save, save, save.
Anyone want to tell me what happened?
Did you miss any of today's show?
It's okay. It's fine. Don't worry.
Subscribe to the Stillman and Company podcast on Apple, Spotify, and other podcast platforms, or by going to theGameNashville.com.
All right, I'll give it a shot.
Strong opinions and a strong personality on your drive home. This is Stillman and Company, presented by TriStar Moving on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
You played running back. Your dad was one of the best running back coaches and offensive coordinator. Do you think a team can win a Super Bowl in today's NFL built around a running back?
Yeah. I mean, I joke and I say, you know, it's cute to play, you know, Golden State Warriors football on, you know, October, September. But when those conditions change and you can't throw the ball up and down the yard, you better be able to run it and you better be able to defend it. And I think if you look at the teams that are in the playoffs that are still playing at this stage, everybody's able to run the ball. So I think, you know, that you can win championships that way.
Not Buffalo. That was Rand Carthon on Friday. Titans general manager saying, hey, I mean, all the good teams can run the ball. Not Buffalo. It snowed. Burrow did his thing. They got the lead, and they ran it right down Buffalo's throat. And Buffalo's sitting at home. So Derrick Henry, every time the Titans lose, every pundit on TV says you can't win with a running back. And the Titans lost, and there's a lot of talk about, do you blow it up? Do you move off of Henry? He's getting older. Hell, even Derrick Henry went on bussing with the boys. And he was like, I don't know if I'll be back. They may cut me. I'm getting older. But you have to ask yourself this. First of all, Rand Carthon saying that you can build your team around a running back is a pretty good hint that he is not interested in moving off of Derrick Henry. But think about what the two guys who are in charge of the organization, what they want to be. They want to be tough. They want to be hard to play. They want to run the football. They want to grind people away. So you're going to get off the Derrick Henry experience in the middle of the ride to save a couple of bucks against the fake cap? No. If I were to put it to you in these terms, and sometimes people get mad when I use the word stupid, but if you were to take your team that is not very good, but is not very bad, and you were to say, hey, couple of moves in the right direction, and you can be competing for the Super Bowl like you were last year. Couple of moves in the wrong direction, and you just traded A.J. Brown away to Philadelphia, didn't get the value in return, and now what are you? Would anybody ever give up their best player voluntarily for a fourth-round pick and think that their team's going to be better next season? No, because if you were to do that, that would be stupid. If you believe in running the football, and your general manager is a former running back, and his dad was a former running back, and his dad was one of the best running back coaches of my generation. If you want to be a tough team, you don't move off Derrick Henry. You support Derrick Henry. So when I see people suggest, hey, move off Derrick Henry, I'm like, you're going to trade away the best player on the team? Certainly the best offensive player? No. You're not going to do that. Get him a passing game. Texter into the text line. Phone lines are driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Texter says, so the Titans have the only franchise running back in the NFL. Wow, we're so lucky. I wish we could have traded Henry instead of A.J. Brown because Tom Brady much rather throw to A.J. Brown than hand off to Derrick Henry. It wasn't as if the Titans made a choice to trade A.J. Brown because they wanted to keep Derrick Henry. The choice with A.J. Brown is A.J. Brown versus Treylon Burks. That has nothing to do with Derrick Henry. Again, the cap's not real, so you don't need to worry about that. It is, in fact, fake. It does not cap you from spending money. Now, if you don't want to spend money, if you've got a budget that says, hey, we're not going to spend $300 million on a roster, that's one thing. But the cap itself is fake. So don't worry about we picked Derrick Henry over AJ, because that's not what happened. I can guarantee you this. If Tom Brady were to come to the Titans, and I know Bob just said in the last hour he's completely ruling out any chance that the Titans sign Tom Brady. But I believe Tom Brady's got to play somewhere. If the Titans were to sign Tom Brady, or if Aaron Rodgers were to go to the Packers and say, I'd like to play for the Titans, one of the top reasons, is because they'd like to play with that beast of a running back. I mean, Tom Brady, think about his career. He has not played with great runners. The one time that he played with a truly great runner was at the end of Corey Dillon's career in New England. And Corey Dillon was awesome. Now, Corey Dillon played on all those Bengal teams that were so bad for all those years. He finally got his get-out-of-jail-free card, and he was awesome. So you can't tell me Tom Brady doesn't want a running game. Tom Brady does not want to throw the ball 66 times a game, like he did against the Dallas Cowboys on that Monday Nighter. Texter says, this is Gene. Just imagine Derrick Henry behind an offensive line that allows him to get hit at the line or after 2 to 3 yards beyond the line versus behind the line. And how about having a legitimate threat at wide receiver? Now, we don't see 5 and 7. I don't know why I said 5 to 7. I mean, there's 9 in the box every time they get the ball. Here's why Derrick Henry needs a passing game. Because if Derrick Henry has a passing game, then you are not allowed to focus on him. Floyder used to always talk about this as a defensive coach, what would scare him. And it was always speed. And it was always speed at receiver. It was always a guy like Tyreek Hill. Well, if you have to worry about Tyreek Hill or you have to worry about Derrick Henry, you know you don't have a corner on your team that Tyreek Hill can run with. So now you have to devote more assets to that. That's why Derrick Henry needs a running game. The same reason why Josh Allen needs a passing game. Because in a game against Cincinnati in inclement conditions, if Stephon Diggs doesn't take over, Josh Allen needs somebody who can move the chains and keep the offense on the field and the defense off the field and even help them in the field position game. They need both. What Derrick Henry's done, and they'll never put this by his Hall of Fame bust in Canton when I think he ends up getting in. But what Derrick Henry's done with the offensive lines that he's had over the last couple of years is really tremendous. I mean, he won a rushing title and ran for 2,000 yards with a backup, Dennis Kelly, at right tackle, and David Quessenberry, a backup at left tackle. How do you rush for 2,000 yards? I don't know the starting lineup for the Broncos when Terrell Davis ran for 2,000 yards, or the Ravens when Jamal Lewis ran for 2,000 yards, but I have to imagine they had their tackles. Think about that. Derrick Henry ran for 2,000 yards with backup tackles. Derrick Henry was third in the league in rushing this year with that mess of a line the Titans had this upcoming season. You don't get off the ride in the middle when you've got an all-time great, and that's what Henry is. They need to build around Henry, not kick Henry to the curb. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. Trevor Maddich will join us next. What does he make of all of this quarterback drama? Now we're hearing it about Rodgers. Tom Brady doesn't want to talk about it. What is the future of the position? And what does Trevor think about Trey Lance as a possible trade target. We'll get into that next. Stillman and Company, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. We're live at Bridgestone Arena, where once again the Preds have a big game tonight against Winnipeg. Preds fans hang out tonight before the game at the Superbook Lounge in Landshark Bar and Grill, Margaritaville on Broadway with 102.5 and 106.3 The Game. Place your bets with Superbook and enjoy great food and drink specials. Plus, enter for a chance to win a pair of tickets to an upcoming Preds home game.
Hey, this is Roman Yossi, and this is Maxwell.
Going to the front of the net, he scores. What a gorgeous move. Roman Yossi.
You're listening to the flagship of the Nashville Predators radio network, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
The playoffs are in full swing, and Electronic Express is bringing you show-stopping deals. Come into any of our convenient locations and save big on 4K TVs from your favorite brands like Samsung, LG, Sony, TCL, Hisense, and more. Electronic Express has huge savings in every department. 4K TVs, computers, appliances, housewares, gaming, and more. Save up to 40% with up to 36 months free financing. Get big game ready in-store or online at electronicexpress.com. Electronic Express, we make it happen.
Al Gill here from my friends at Dunkin'. Warm up and feel the love with Dunkin'. Treat yourself and a loved one to a brown butter toffee hot or iced latte, which is superb paired with the bacon avocado tomato sandwich. Be sure to try the all-new stuffed biscuit bites. It's a warm biscuit dough wrapped around a mixture of bacon, scrambled egg, and cheddar cheese. Visit us at our newly remodeled Dunkin' on Briley Parkway in Nashville or the new Dunkin' in Mount Juliet and our other locations throughout Middle Tennessee. Price and participation may vary. Limited time offer. Terms apply.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter.com/radio.
Built upon a solid foundation of cast iron and steel, the Kubota LO1 series is part of our under 100 horsepower tractor lineup rated #1 for reliability. They feature powerful Kubota diesel engines and easy operation. The durable Kubota LO1 series. Talk to your local Kubota dealer today to schedule a demo. Go to KubotaUSA.com for full disclaimer.
Visit Coleman Tractor Company, your local Kubota dealer in Clarksville, Nashville, Paris, and White House today.
We're Cromwell Media, and if you work here, you're family, and that means a lot. Dagwood has been our morning host on 102.9 The Buzz for 24 years. For Christy Maffett on our sales team, that means 23 years of service. Haley St. John, also an on-air talent on 102.9 The Buzz, is celebrating 10 years. Shannon Sanders, the architect behind 102.1 The Ville, joined our team 5 years ago. Charlotte Simmons, who works on our corporate team, has been with us for 3 years. Want to be part of our amazing Cromwell family? Contact us at together@cromwellmedia.com.
102.5 and 106.3 The Game is live and local.
And now, let's meet the starting lineups.
Robbie and Rex Road 6 to 9.
You are talking about a team that's building a roster.
Chase and Michelle 9 to 11.
He's still under contract.
It's not always X's and O's.
Caroline, Willie, and D Mace 11 to 2.
Trades, free agents.
Let's get it going. I think this is a good hire.
And Stillman and Company 2 to 6.
I can give you one of the best coaches in the league.
And don't forget, we're your home for all things Nashville.
He scored!
Nashville's best sports talk. 102.5 and 106.3 The Game.
Hey Nashville, this is Eli Gold, voice of the Alabama Crimson Tide, and you're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
What a wild weekend of football on the football field that we had, and now what a wild week of gossip that we have upcoming with the quarterback position. Adam Schefter and Peter King talking about Aaron Rodgers like his time in Green Bay is over. Jim Gray getting cussed out by Tom Brady for asking him what he was doing next. In fact, Ian, we do have that Tom Brady cut, right? This
yes,
was This was Tom Brady yesterday on his Let's Go podcast with Jim Gray on Sirius XM.
Tom, you're leaving everybody guessing. And you've said you'll take your time. Do you have any type of a timetable as to what you might want to do regarding your football career?
Jim, if I knew what I was going to fucking do, I'd have already done it. Okay? I'm taking it a day at a time.
I sense you're antagonized by the question.
You're scratching.
It's only the question
scratchy.
that everybody wants to hear.
You're scratchy. Scratchy. I appreciate your asking. Thank you.
Okay, so between that and Rand Carthon pleading the fifth when I asked him about Ryan Tannehill on Friday, who knows what the Titans are going to do at the position. Trevor Maddich joins us now on the program presented by Houston Clinic Orthopedics when experience matters. Okay, Trevor, let's start with this. Before we get into if any of these guys would want to come here or what it would take to get them to come here, this is my list. Tannehill, Brady, Rodgers, Carr, Jimmy Garoppolo, Baker Mayfield, or a trade for Trey Lance. Which guy do you like the most to quarterback the Titans this upcoming season?
Carr.
What?
I think Derek Carr. Yeah, I think Derek Carr struggled in the offense of Josh McDaniel out in Las Vegas. I think he's a much better quarterback than he showed this last season, and I think that he, with a new chance, with a new opportunity, would do a good job here. Would he do that much more than Tannehill? I don't know, but if Tannehill's not the guy that you want, I think among those it would be Carr.
Are you moving off of Ryan Tannehill if you're the Titans?
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. Because when you look at who they might bring in, you've got to ask how much better than Tannehill will they be? And this offense is still Derrick Henry. And if they upgrade the offensive line like they should have done more successfully over the last couple of years, and if they're able to bring in some pass catchers that can actually be an honest-to-goodness threat, then Derrick Henry runs the show. And Tannehill is handing off and throwing play action. That's what you want. And really, would any of those quarterbacks be that much better than Tannehill and handing to Derrick Henry and throwing play action? And the answer to that, I think, is probably not that much if you look at the very best of them. And Tannehill already kind of knows what's going on. I don't know that the offense will be that much different with a new offensive coordinator. Certainly the focus shouldn't be that much different. So to me, instead of expending too many resources, whether it's in trade or whether it's in salary cap or whatever it might be, to replace Tannehill, I think they should focus those resources on the line and the receivers and get Henry to where he needs to be, and then Tannehill will be an all-pro.
Okay. With that, I would say, could Brady not do that better? If Brady wanted to come here, could Tom Brady not run the play action and hand it to Derrick Henry better than Tannehill?
I think given the choice between the two of them now, you can make a case that for the next year or two, Brady would be the guy you'd want to have. But that's for the next year or two. And if that's all Tannehill has in him, then you need to make that choice. How much would it cost for Brady? That's a question. Would Brady want to come? And I think that's a bigger obstacle to overcome. But look at this too. Tannehill, even at his age, is still a threat to run well enough to move the chains if the defense doesn't respect his ability to run. Tom Brady can't even move around in the pocket very much anymore. I mean, when he was at his best, his physical best, Brady wasn't a threat to run, but what he could do well is manipulate the pocket, move left to right, move up and back. He doesn't even do that anymore. Now, if a pass rusher starts to approach him, Brady just has a seat. He literally sits down because he doesn't move at all. And any movement by a quarterback will really help the running game with Henry because they'll force the contained guy to stay a little bit wider. So you've got to factor that into it as well.
Trevor Maddich is our guest here on the program. What do you make of Trey Lance? Because it does feel – I believe that in today's society, back in the day, Terry Bradshaw could be benched by Chuck Noll, and he could get in his feelings, and Chuck Noll didn't care and didn't have to care. I don't think you can do that anymore. I think San Francisco has to decide who the guy is. I think it's going to be Purdy, and then I think they got to move off of Trey Lance because they used 3 first-round picks to get him, and they can't just have his contract run out with him not starting really any games. So with that, Rand Carthon comes from the 49ers. He'll know better than anybody about what Trey Lance really is. What is your impression of Trey Lance as the potential future of the Titans?
Yeah, that's one thing I'm so interested to see is to what degree Carthon will make a move for Trey Lance. Because you're right, he knows him better than anybody in the NFL, or just as well as anybody in the NFL. Certainly, that's not currently with the 49ers. And myself, from what I have seen, I would not expend too many resources on Trey Lance for a couple of reasons. One is that you just don't know what you have there. In college, at the FCS level at North Dakota State, he had that one amazing year. But that's it. He didn't play a lot of football in college because COVID took away one of his seasons except for one game. And when you watched him play in that one amazing year, you saw him fire that ball, man. It was amazing, the speed he had on it. He could throw a laser. But he never had to show a whole lot of subtlety with his arm. He never had to show much of an ability to loft the ball over the first level of zone defenders and drop it in at the second level before the safety could get to the sideline. You never saw that kind of subtlety being required of him because he was facing FCS pass defenders, secondary, and linebackers that he could just whip the ball right by and they just didn't have a chance. And so does that mean he can't do it? No, it doesn't mean. It just means I haven't seen him do it because he's been hurt most of the time he's been in the NFL, or at least hurt or not playing. And so is he that good? Is he a guy that will study hard? Yeah. The book on him is that he is a hard worker, the kind of humble kid that wants to get better every day that you want to have, right? But he hasn't had a chance yet to prove that he could apply the offense against the defensive scheme at the NFL level. He hasn't had a chance to prove it. So what you may have is a guy with an amazingly live arm who can't put together the rest of it at a high enough level to be a franchise quarterback in the NFL. You may have a guy who can do all that stuff. But I think it would be a real risk, even with Rand Carthon here, to give up too much equity in terms of draft capital for a trade for him, because even Carthon has not seen him much at the game, from a game standpoint. So I think it'd be very risky to give up too much to get Trey Lance in here.
Trevor Maddich is with us. You know these quarterbacks in college as well as anybody. So I'm just going to say this. Bryce Young, C.J. Stroud, Will Levis, Anthony Richardson, the 11th pick. What do you make of those guys and the Titans?
Well, I don't think that Bryce Young will be there. And I think Bryce Young is the best of those quarterbacks. The problem is Bryce Young is just not a big guy. Now, he's played in the SEC. He's taken a lot of hits. He got hurt, missed a couple of games and about a month of practice in this last season. But it wasn't the kind of thing, it was a wear and tear injury. It was more of a guy fell on his leg injury. And so you would take the risk that he can stay healthy in the NFL. I think with a team like the Titans, he could, because if they get that offensive line squared away, then he's handing off and throwing play action. He's not having 7-step dropbacks in the pocket and having to look deep down the field all the time, which is what exposes quarterbacks to getting hit at awkward angles most of the time. But he won't be there, I don't think. Will Levis of Kentucky, I wouldn't draft in the first round. I wouldn't do it. Because to me, he has a lot of the same questions that I had about Jordan Love when he was at Utah State. Of course, Green Bay moved up to get him in the first round, and that's one of the things that alienated Aaron Rodgers so much, and I think that will be looked at as one of the most boneheaded personnel moves in the modern era of the NFL for a variety of reasons. But if you look at Jordan Love at Utah State, the first year he was there, he was phenomenal. But he was surrounded by future NFL receivers and offensive linemen. Those guys went off to the league for his last year, and he wasn't able to elevate the team the way you would think a franchise quarterback, a future franchise quarterback would be able to do. And so far, he hasn't really established himself at Green Bay. Will Levis, same way. 2 years ago, he was phenomenal. He was incredible. But then he lost his best receiver. He lost a couple offensive linemen to the NFL. Starting this season out, his top running back was suspended for the first month or so of the season. They never were able to really put things together on offense, and I didn't see Will Levis elevating the team like I thought he could. I saw him throwing the ball to the other side an awful lot. He tried to elevate the team, but in doing so, he made a lot of terrible mistakes as well. So do you really want to invest a high first-round pick, or the 11th pick, on a guy that has that track record in college? And I would say no. You know, when you look at C.J. Stroud of Ohio State, he would be an intriguing pick here. He gets a lot of grief from people, you know, evaluating him because he played on that Ohio State offensive system that basically produced with some tweaks Justin Fields with the Bears, you know, and others. You know, the guy that Washington drafted, I'm spacing his name now, quarterback. Yes. And neither one of those guys came into the league prepared to really be an NFL passer. And so there's that. And they say that Ohio State's offense is very quarterback friendly, throwing to some of the best wide receivers in the country, springing guys wide open all the time. And I've done breakdowns on that. They do spring guys open. They give Stroud and those receivers an unfair schematic advantage at Ohio State because they're just so good at game planning guys open. But when you evaluate him just on the times that guys weren't open and he had to drop a dime, he did. When you evaluate him at times when he's got a rusher right in his face, and can he still make an accurate throw, he did a lot. And so for me, the question for C.J. Stroud is temperament. I mean, I don't know him. I've never met him. Does he have the temperament to play in the league? Just every time you look at his face, it looks like he's bored half to death. That doesn't mean he is. Maybe he's just amazingly calm. But at the same time, I would want to know that before I'd invest that pick. And then anybody that takes Anthony Richardson, the Florida quarterback, in the first round, ought to be banned from decision making in the NFL for life. You know, he's got tremendous physical talent. If you want to move him to tight end, great. Take a flyer on him in the third round. But as a quarterback, he never showed at Florida the ability to quarterback. He threw well once in a while. He ran well a lot. But in terms of decision making, it wasn't necessarily stellar. In terms of consistency, he was terrible. And a lot of his best plays happened not because he did something good, but because the defense made a boneheaded college defense mistake. You know, two guys in one gap kind of a thing. And so, or busted coverage. So I don't want to rain on his parade necessarily, just to say that if I'm an NFL team and I'm looking for a quarterback in the first round, Richardson from Florida is not even on my board. So I guess the bottom line is this. If Bryce Young doesn't fall to 11 for the Titans, and if they're not fully convinced that C.J. Stroud of Ohio State is the guy in every way, then Will Levis and Richardson, those guys I would not take with the 11th pick if I'm the Titans.
Trevor Maddich is with us, presented by Houston Clinic Orthopedics, when experience matters. New contract for Josh Heupel, but can he keep it going at Tennessee? We'll get into that with Trevor next. Stillman and Company, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
Every Wednesday at noon.
That fits the mentality of what they're going to do.
Outkick 360's Jonathan Hutton joins Caroline, Willie, and D-Mace to talk all things Titans and NFL.
Much more creative in how you go about calling certain plays.
He's got opinions and insights on the two-tone blue.
That doesn't mean that you can't have great or don't need great quarterback play.
Catch Hutton every Wednesday at noon on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Attention all fire and safety line experts. Middle Tennessee's fastest growing fire protection company is looking for experienced service technicians, designers, and sprinkler system experts like you. Tired of working for a large corporate employer? Work for a company where you're more than just a number. Jarrett Fire Protection is owned and operated by Nashville natives and wants to invite you to grow with their amazing team.
Hi, I'm Jason Jarrett, owner of Jarrett Companies. I'm looking to hire experienced sprinkler experts and will offer a sign-on bonus of up to $5,000 for certified professionals, in addition to our great benefits that include a 401k match, PTO, and top pay with annual bonuses. We will also provide you with the top-of-the-line tools, trucks, and equipment that you need to grow your career. Our customer base is large and business is booming with many opportunities for advancement. Give us a call or go online to jarrettfire.com and apply today to become a member of our family and protect our community. That's JARRETT fire.com. Jarrett Companies, where we are above and beyond industry standards.
At Genesis Diamonds, it's not just a new year,
It's a new opportunity to bring you more choices, more value, more ways to celebrate your love. So we've expanded our selection of exquisite hand-picked diamonds from a half carat to 15 carats, all shapes, all sizes, all at our famous no middleman prices. This year especially, we know price matters, and we're committed to delivering the best value every day. We've also brought in even more exclusive designer jewelry, new cutting-edge fashion-forward rings, earrings, bands, bracelets, pendants, things you can't find anywhere else. And of course, Genesis is proud to offer a truly spectacular collection of luxury pre-owned Rolex timepieces. We have all the most popular models in stock with no wait list and no restrictions. Is this the year you reward yourself with a premier name and timepieces? Come to Genesis in 2023 and let our non-commissioned experts help you celebrate those important milestones. We guarantee the best value, the highest quality, and the strongest warranties and guarantees in the jewelry industry. Genesis Diamonds and luxury pre-owned Rolexes.
Hey, it's Jared with my friends at Hiller. Kick off the new year with new upgrades for your home. This month, when you buy something you need for your home, Hiller will give you something you want. Pick your prize. Get a free 55-inch TV, Apple iPad, Solo Stove, or Nintendo Switch when you purchase new whole home generators or select new HVAC systems. Or a free 55-inch TV, Nintendo Switch, or Solo Stove when you upgrade to a new tankless water heater. There's no better time to take care of necessary home replacements, so call Hiller. That's Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical. Call the Happy Face Truck today.
Signs First, Nashville's leading locally owned and operated sign and physical media company, has been supporting local community organizations for over 30 years. Signs First offers a 10% discount to all churches, nonprofits, and charities. Go to sfnash.com.
Are you ready for the biggest party of the year? Nickelback, with a live show unlike any other. August 1st at Bridgestone Arena. Nickelback, the Get Rollin' Tour, with Brantley Gilbert and Josh Ross. Tickets on sale Friday at 10 a.m. at livenation.com. Nickelback, produced by Live Nation. They're insightful.
To me, you got a left guard situation you got to figure out.
Credible.
I trust this guy more than this guy.
But sometimes they just argue.
Why do you like the NFL playoffs? Those teams lose
I don't want college football to be the NFL.
When they get...
Robbie Stanley and Joe Rexroad are Robbie and Rexroad. Weekdays from 6 to 9 on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app. You're listening to Stillman and Company, presented by TriStar Moving on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Stillman and Company, news on the Tennessee Volunteer front. Josh Heupel, a new contract that will pay him $9 million a year through, I believe, 2028. Doesn't matter when that contract's over. They'll adjust it so many times, 8 ways to Sunday. But he is getting paid like an elite coach, and he did for this year have Tennessee at an elite level. Trevor Maddich is with us, ESPN college football analyst, presented by Houston Clinic Orthopedics, when experience matters. Trev, let's start with this number one question. Now that Josh Heupel is being paid like an elite coach, will Tennessee continue to get elite results?
Yes, they absolutely will. Because the scary thing is, as good as they were this last year, on offense especially, they weren't as good as they're going to be. I mean, they're still trying to figure out all the nuances of the offense from a standpoint of the players on the field. Now, Hendon Hooker turned out to be an all-timer of a great thrower, certainly a fantastic thrower. And they finished the season number one in college football in total yards per game, number one in points scored per game, and they ran for almost 200 yards. So it wasn't just that they were a run-and-shoot kind of passing team. They were a balanced offense. But at the same time, you know, Cedric Tillman was hurt for a lot of the year, one of their best wide receivers, et cetera. I think that as time goes on, you're going to find recruits are going to want to come play for this offense, because what do recruits want? The first thing they want is NIL, right? That's number one. How do you get NIL? You play at a place that has a collective that can pay you, especially if you can get lots of big numbers and get yourself really famous. Well, you can do that at Tennessee. Number two is get to the NFL. Can you do that for Tennessee? Oh, yeah. What about number three, championships? Well, Tennessee is getting better. They did everything that they did this year with a defense that had a lot of holes in the roster. And they still, you could make a case, came within the South Carolina loss of making the playoff. And so this is a team that will only get better, and giving the raise to $9 million to Josh Heupel will help in that regard. Not that he'll become a better coach, but that they'll be able to say in recruiting now, look, we have one of the highest paid coaches in the country. And there's a reason he's one of the highest paid coaches in the country. Come check it out, right? And so part of that is a real calculated targeting of the messaging. Tennessee is where you want to come if you want to be the best.
Trev, what do you make of the fact that Tennessee last year was really good with Hendon Hooker? And I know Joe Milton put it on Clemson in the bowl game, but we've seen a lot of coaches look really good when they have good quarterbacks, and then they lose their quarterbacks and they're never the same. Do you think that Hooker was more of a product of Heupel, or that Heupel's success was more of a product of having Hendon Hooker?
It was both, because in order for Heupel's offense to really succeed, there are two things he needs from the quarterback. The first is to run at hyperspeed. I mean hyperspeed. And in his first year, a couple of years ago, the offense didn't run as fast as he wanted it to because the players just couldn't get it done. They couldn't mentally get the information onto the field in order to run as fast as he wanted to. They ran a lot faster last year with Hendon Hooker as the full-time starter. And so that helped Heupel, and it helped everybody. The second thing that Hooker helped was that this offense requires that the quarterback be accurate on downfield throws. And Hooker, especially last year, was phenomenal in his accuracy at hitting those receivers running downhill or downfield. And that was the problem with Joe Milton when the two of them were competing for the job originally. That Milton had this fantastic arm, and he'd throw the ball way down the field and overthrow a receiver on a go route by 4 yards. And that was the problem. And by the way, I thought that Milton did a whole lot better in the bowl game than I thought he might at lofting the ball high to give the receiver a chance to run under it. Now, he didn't always loft it accurately enough, but it was a whole lot better than just throwing it on a rope deep down the field and overthrowing a guy. So when you look at Hooker and him bringing the understanding of the offense so they could run it faster combined with the accuracy downfield, and yeah, you could say that Hooker did a lot to help Heupel, but at the same time, it was Heupel that put Hooker in the position to be able to maximize everything he could do. And that's what this offense needs. If they have a quarterback that can go at fast speed and hit those deep passes, everything else falls into place.
What do you think the expectations are now, Trev, for Tennessee football, now that Josh Heupel's being paid like an elite coach? I mean, if they're not in Atlanta competing for the SEC championship game, I think there's going to be fans that are unhappy. You know how this works. The more you win in the SEC, the higher the expectations are. What do you make of the future expectations now for Tennessee under Josh Heupel?
Well, I think the expectation, to go to Atlanta and compete for an SEC championship game, that's great. But the harder thing to get to Atlanta would be to get past Georgia to begin with. And so I think that the next expectation is to elevate the program to the point that they can compete with Georgia. Beat them, great. But at least stay on the field with them. They blew out most teams that they played this year, but Georgia just throttled them and controlled them. And the score wasn't terrible. It was 27-13, but Georgia was in full control of that game, and it was just very clear that Tennessee wasn't on their level, at least not yet. So that's the next step for them. So what do you have to do? Well, you got to keep the offense where it is, and continue to milk from that offense nuances so defenses can't focus in on what you're doing. But now the defense has to improve, and that's just a matter of recruiting. And so as guys come in on the defensive side through the portal, and as they recruit guys that they can develop on the defensive side, they'll be able to get to a point where they can compete with the Bulldogs. If they get to that point, then competing for an SEC championship is a foregone conclusion. Because the truth of it is, the way things are looking in the SEC West right now, I don't see anybody over there on Georgia's level. Of course, they're the national championship champions 2 years in a row. But for me, the big obstacle for Tennessee is the Bulldogs, and physicality in the trenches, especially on the defensive side of the ball, is what will get them to that level.
Trevor, quickly, last one for you. What does Bill O'Brien leaving Alabama to go back to the Patriots mean, and who's Nick Saban's next target?
Oh, I have no idea who Nick Saban's next target is. Goodness gracious. There's a couple of them. But Saban has had to win, replacing his coaching staff almost wholesale year after year after year, and he's been able to do it. But he's starting to run out of people over there, I think. I think that, O'Brien at New England's a very smart move by Belichick for a variety of reasons, and I think Matt Jones will benefit from that. But Nick Saban, I think, might want to bring in a guy that'll get him back to the Bama factor. In other words, they've got to keep the spread and the throwing and the zone reads and all the newfangled stuff. But Alabama has struggled in recent years because their offensive line and their running game has not been what it's been in the past. And from a standpoint of just beating teams through the air, well, they could do it when they had Tua, when they had Bryce Young, when they had those great receivers that they had. But we saw last year that when they didn't have the great receivers and they couldn't dominate on the ground, Alabama wasn't the same team. So I kind of think the next guy they bring in will have to focus on the ground first and then fold in that other passing stuff on top of it.
Trevor, great stuff as always. We appreciate you. We'll talk next week.
Great. Thank you, Jared.
Yep, Trevor Maddich joining us on the program. Amy Adams Strunk hints at major changes, tough decisions. What would those be? We'll get to that next. Hey, if you are watching the NFL playoffs from the sidelines, now is the time to get in the game with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. New customers, bet this Sunday's conference championship games with $150 in free bets guaranteed when you place your first $5 bet. Just sign up with the promo code JGM. I feel really good about Cincinnati this weekend because Patrick Mahomes will play, but he won't be 100%, and Cincinnati has Kansas City's number. Joe Burrow is playing like a beast. I think right now I'm leaning Cincinnati. FanDuel has all your favorite bets from the money line to point spreads to player props. And you can combine your bets for a chance at a bigger payout with the same game parlay. All on an app that's safe, secure, and super easy to use. So football fans, don't miss out. Place your first $5 bet to get $150 in free bets, win or lose with the promo code JGM, and make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. 21 and older and present in Tennessee. First online real money wager, only $10 first deposit required. Bonus issued is non-withdrawable free bets that expires in 14 days. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call the Tennessee Red Line at 1-800-889-9789.
You love the game.
Predators win it in overtime. Touchdown, Tennessee!
We live the game.
My quarterback needs me to step up.
He can make a defense pay.
We are
1, 2, 3, 4. I think it was a good game. You had a couple of big plays.
Roman Yossi scores.
The Game. Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game, and the Game Nashville app.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
Time for the Preds Report.
Presented by Newton Nissan.
It was a great night for the Predators Saturday at Bridgestone Arena. They rallied with 3 goals in the third period and topped Los Angeles 5-3. Matt Duchene had 2 goals. Mikhail Granlund and Ryan Johansson each chipped in with 1, and Cole Smith tipped in a Roman Yossi blast for his first career NHL goal. Predators host the Winnipeg Jets tonight at Bridgestone Arena. The Jets are tied with Dallas atop the Central Division. They've won 7 of their last 10. The Predators, meanwhile, have won 6 of their last 10 and stand 13 points behind the Jets and have played 2 games less than the Jets have. After Thursday, the Predators play next on February 7th when they host the Vegas Golden Knights. Tonight's game underway at 7. Max Hers with the pregame show at 6 o'clock. This is Pete Weber reporting on the Fifth Third Bank Nashville Predators Radio Network.
All the best car deals in Smashville start at Newton Nissan. Visit them at Newton Nissan of Gallatin or Newton Nissan South in Shelbyville.
This is Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game.
Bar Lines in the Omni Nashville Hotel.
Hey Nashville, it's Chef Phillip at Bar Lines at the Omni Hotel. Come try our new hot dog burn ends. Nathan's all beef hot dogs smoked over pecan wood, tossed in honey sriracha barbecue, topped with a cool crema and crisp spring onions. One of my favorites.
Attending an event downtown? Dine at Bar Lines in the Omni Nashville Hotel.
Paid for by GovMint.com.
The 1921 to 1935 silver piece dollar, a true American classic, and one of the most iconic silver dollar coins in history. It has been over 85 years since these silver dollars were minted for circulation. But now, for a limited time only, full pound bags of original U.S. government struck silver dollars are being released to the public. That's right. You can own a full pound of 1921 to 1935 original silver dollar coins, all in very good collector condition, with fully visible dates and mint marks, guaranteed. Call 1-800-473-1745 now to secure collector-grade U.S. silver dollars by the pound, minted during the Roaring '20s and the Great Depression. Plus, receive a bonus American Collector's Pack valued at over $25 free with every order. Call 1-800-473-1745 now to secure your full pound of United States silver dollars before they are gone. That's 1-800-473-1745. 1-800-473-1745.
Now, your Game Center update.
This Game Center update is brought to you by the law offices of Amanda J. Gentry. The Nashville Predators are back on the Bridgestone Arena ice tonight as they host the Winnipeg Jets. The Preds are coming off a big third period come-from-behind win over the Kings on Saturday night. Preds head coach John Hines on trying to carry over that momentum into tonight.
Taking that mindset and the preparation that we had into that game and the mindset throughout the game, needs to come into play tonight, and it needs to be consistent. That's the word we've also talked about is, we can see what it looks like when it's there, but our challenge now is to make sure that that's a consistent effort night in and night out.
The Preds currently sit 4 points out of a playoff spot as we approach the All-Star break. Puck drop for tonight is set for 7, with pregame at 6, right here on the Preds Radio Network. The Tennessee Titans continue the search for their next offensive coordinator. One named rumored for the job is off the board, as former Texans head coach Bill O'Brien has taken the OC job for the New England Patriots. And coming up tonight at 7:30 on 93.3 Classic Hits, Vanderbilt Hoops is in action as they host the Kentucky Wildcats. This update is brought to you by the law offices of Amanda J. Gentry. I'm Ian Safar for 102.5 and 106.3 The Game.
For more, follow us on Twitter at 1025 The Game or visit thegamenashville.com. Tonight, your Nashville Predators take on the Winnipeg Jets. Coverage begins at 6 on your home for Smashville. WPRT FM Pegram, WBUC HD2 Laverne, 1025 and 1063 The Game.
A Cromwell Media Station.
Where you have a voice.
He had a competent coaching staff. You just play terrible and you keep playing.
And we have strong opinions.
What a whiny freaking crybaby response.
This is Stillman and Company with Jared Stillman. Presented by TriStar Moving on Nashville's best sports talk, 1025 and 1063 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Stillman and Company is delivered by TriStar Moving, 1025, 1063 The Game, streaming live on Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook Live, thanks to Superbook Sports, live from the Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical Studios, Bridgestone Arena, pregame in less than an hour for the Preds and the Winnipeg Jets tonight right here on 1025 and 1063 The Game. So, when you're the owner of a professional sports team, really the only thing that comes across your desk are the big picture topics. You are not sitting there going over gunners unless you want to. I don't even think Jerry Jones, who by all accounts is kind of an old cooter, I don't understand how Jerry Jones seems to just hit draft pick after draft pick after draft pick and have a great roster. But it's not Jerry's football acumen. When you own a football team, it's about TV deals. It's about the new stadiums. It's about, are you going to host a Super Bowl? Is your team going to go to London? It's who's your GM, who's your head coach, who's your quarterback. So Amy Adams-Strunk did a one-on-one sit-down with Mike Keith on the Titans website, and she was asked about what Rand Carthon, the new general manager, what his charge from day one is going to be. And there were two hints in this answer that give me an idea of what the organization is thinking. Go ahead and play the clip.
What is your new GM's charge from the owner as he begins this job?
Well, I got a text from him after, well, he was still at the airport, and he was so excited, and he was just like, I can't wait to get back and start working on that championship for you, Miss Amy. And, so if that's my mission to him, I know there's going to be some difficult decisions that have to be made and, maybe some change. I know they're going to evaluate, so I'm going to let them, have their time to do that. But I think, we're just going to, be excited for the steps that come, because I know down maybe next year, the year after, I'm not really sure, but I know we have a Lombardi Trophy in our future.
Okay, so here's what I took away from that. The number one key and clue is maybe next year we'll win the Lombardi Trophy. What? Going to go from 7-10, losing your last 7 games in a row with no offensive line, with no wide receivers, with a troubled secondary, and you're going to be holding the Lombardi Trophy, I don't know, maybe next year? Those are some really high expectations. If I owned the team, they probably would not be my expectations. But those are very high expectations. And guess who gets to set the owner's expectations, Ian?
I would assume she does.
Bingo. So she's already told you the idea that a lot of people have about it's time to blow it all up. Too many holes. The team needs the. She's not going to do that.
Doesn't sound like she's in for a full rebuild.
Or even a partial rebuild. Not if she wants to hoist the Lombardi Trophy next year or the year after that. That's the first thing. The second thing in that cut that stood out to me was her talking about difficult decisions. And then said, maybe some change. But I'm going to let them evaluate that. What would be a difficult decision? They've already fired the general manager. They've already fired the offensive coordinator. What would be a difficult decision? Moving on from Taylor Lewan or Bud Dupree or Zach Cunningham is not a difficult decision. In fact, that's a really easy decision. You're the left tackle. You're not really that good anymore. You're never healthy. Cut. Robert Woods, and whether or not they keep him, that's not really that doesn't involve the owner. That is hey, I'm trusting you to figure out whether or not we should offer a free agent tender as a restricted free agent to Nick Westbrook-Akine. That's not coming across the owner's desk. Not when the mayor is on line one wanting to talk about the new stadium. So what would be the change that she's talking about and the difficult decisions? Now, Rand Carthon, I thought, made it abundantly clear in his opening press conference that he's not moving off of Derrick Henry. And she made it clear that she wants to win now by talking about hoisting the Lombardi Trophy next year or the year after that, and I don't think any team gets better by cutting their best player. So they're not moving off of Derrick Henry. What are the difficult decisions that are out there that have to be made? There's one. It's the quarterback. And I think there's maybe going to be some change, but I'll let them evaluate that. It's the quarterback. Have you ever noticed when you hear a college or an NFL team is zeroing in on somebody to be the next head coach or the next GM or the next defensive coordinator, how all of a sudden you see a tweet that comes out from Ian Rappaport or Adam Schefter, and it says they're zeroing in on Johnny Joe to be the next defensive coordinator. And then 3 minutes later, the team sends out a release. We are hiring Johnny Joe to be our defensive coordinator. Because the decisions already get made. Rand Carthon walked into that job interview with a plan at the quarterback position. And when he was asked about Tannehill by me on Friday, he pled the fifth. I got to take time to evaluate. When she was interviewing him for the job, I highly doubt when she asked him what he thought about quarterback, I highly doubt Rand Carthon said, well, that wouldn't be fair for me to just tell you that I would move off of Tannehill and go after Trey Lance, or that I want to go after Aaron Rodgers, or I want to go after Tom Brady. It would be unfair because I just got here and I haven't watched the tape. No, no, no. He had an opinion, and he told it to her. And so, again, clues. Her expectation, she wants to be competing at the top of the league next year. That is a big deal. If the owner wants to compete at the top of the league next year and the team doesn't, there's usually consequences, which means there are decisions that are going to be made to compete at the top of the league this year. And secondly, difficult decisions and maybe some change. What would be a difficult decision? Whether or not Randy Bullock comes back as the kicker, not a difficult decision that approaches the owner. Move off of Ryan Tannehill? That's kind of a difficult decision. You win a lot of games with Tannehill. It's risky out there in the quarterback market. Are you sure Derek Carr is better? Indianapolis tried this last year. We saw what happened to them. But to me, the hint is, I think they're moving off of Tannehill. I wouldn't move off of Tannehill, but I think they are moving off of Tannehill. 615-737-1025. We'll get to your phones on that. 615-737-1025. Plus, I went over the list. I think there is a chance, based off of what has been reported, I think there is a chance Tom Brady is a Titan next year. I will explain. Stillman and Company, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
The college football season never stops. ESPN college football analyst Trevor Matich joins Stillman and Company every Tuesday at 4:30.
They've got to do what Nick Saban in Alabama has done so successfully over the last 10 years.
Presented by Houston Clinic Orthopedics on Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
It's Quaz with Little Harpeth, and I'm just having one of our chicken scratch American Pilsners. It's one refreshing beer and a good example of the German lagers that we craft right here in Nashville. Chicken scratch is made with locally sourced raw white corn, giving it a subtle cornbready sweetness. And speaking of sweetness, Chicken Scratch's closest associate goes by the name of Deer Crossing Hellas, also a lager with a light crisp body and golden color, and it won us a gold medal at the Great American Beer Festival. So be on the lookout for our craft lagers. And as always, thank you for supporting our little brewery.
What's up, everybody? This is Teron Davenport here for Superbook Sports, and I want you to add this to your New Year's resolution. Win money in 2023 with Superbook Sports. Superbook has over 3 decades of sports wagering experience in Las Vegas, so you'll get the best odds anywhere as we head into the football playoffs. Plus, check out the special odds boosts and promotions at Superbook.com. Make 2023 the year when you win money from Vegas. Download the Superbook Sports app now and place your bets. Visit Superbook.com for terms and conditions. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-889-9789.
Attention all fire and safety line experts. Middle Tennessee's fastest growing fire protection company is looking for experienced service technicians, designers, and sprinkler system experts like you. Tired of working for a large corporate employer? Work for a company where you're more than just a number. Jarrett Fire Protection is owned and operated by Nashville natives and wants to invite you to grow with their amazing team.
Hi, I'm Jason Jarrett, owner of Jarrett Companies. I'm looking to hire experienced sprinkler experts and will offer a sign-on bonus of up to $5,000 for certified professionals, in addition to our great benefits that include a 401k match, PTO, and top pay with annual bonuses. We will also provide you with the top-of-the-line tools, trucks, and equipment that you need to grow your career. Our customer base is large and business is booming with many opportunities for advancement. Give us a call or go online to jarrettfire.com and apply today to become a member of our family and protect our community. That's JARRETT fire.com. Jarrett Companies, where we are above and beyond industry standards.
Now is a fantastic time to sell in Nashville, but you can't do it without the intel. And no one has better intel than the Gary Ashton team. You may be wondering, what is this intel I keep hearing about? Intel so you can sell your home without any staging or showings. Intel on where to find your next home so you can sell your current one while the market's hot. Intel that helps you win the buyer battle and cash in on your home equity now. Everyone else is getting the same information and competing for the same properties. GaryAshton.com gives you the edge with the best real estate intel in Nashville. No one else even comes close. Plus, the Gary Ashton team is the official real estate agent for the Preds. Get the confidence to sell your home and find your dream address without the stress. Call the Gary Ashton team with RE/MAX Advantage today at 615-301-1650 or visit GaryAshton.com. And remember, don't sell without the intel.
We try to stay cool by being on social media.
I'm with it. I'm hip.
Follow us on Twitter at 1025thegame and on Instagram at 1025thegame Nashville.
Hey!
Oh yeah, and like us on Facebook too. Strong opinions and a strong personality on your drive home. This is Stillman and Company, presented by TriStar Moving on 1025 and 1063 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Tom, you're leaving everybody guessing. You've said you'll take your time. Do you have any type of a timetable as to what you might want to do regarding your football career?
Jim, if I knew what I was going to fucking do, I'd have already done it. Okay? I'm taking it a day at a time.
I sense you're antagonized by the question.
You're scratching.
It's only the question that everybody wants to hear.
You're scratchy. Scratchy. I appreciate your asking. Thank you.
Brady and Jim Gray on the Let's Go podcast on Sirius XM. Ian thinks it's staged, by the way, between Jim Gray and Brady.
And you don't?
Oh, no, I absolutely think it's staged. I mean, that is the house media for Tom Brady if there ever was one. Jim Gray.
That was funny.
That was, yes. And so Brady, that's the official word from Tom Brady. So I was flying back from Phoenix today, and I was thinking about this logically in my head, about the Titans, who I believe are trying to move off of Ryan Tannehill, knowing deep down inside that at the end of the day, if they need to go back to Tannehill, they always can. But I'm thinking if Brady's on the market and Rodgers is on the market and they don't go back to where they've been playing, I think the Titans are in play. Now, Rick Stroud of the Tampa Bay Times is a very well-respected reporter. He is also kind of the authority when it comes to the Buccaneers. And Rick Stroud reported last week that Tom Brady moving west is not ideal for his family situation. Now, Rick Stroud knew before it was reported that Brady was missing training camp because of his divorce with Giselle. He knew, but he wasn't going to report it. He went on the Dan Patrick Show and he said, there is a there, which takes us back to this report. What do we make of the fact that his kids with Giselle are going to live in Miami? His other son lives with Bridget Moynihan in New York. Rick Stroud is saying the idea of Brady and the Raiders, which everybody assumes, may not come to fruition because Tom doesn't want to have to fly from Vegas to get to Miami or New York all the time. Or worse, fly them from Miami to Vegas or from New York. So I put together a list. East Coast teams or eastern part of the country accessible to those two cities that don't have an answer at quarterback. Number one was Tampa Bay. I wrote, well, he hates it there. That team stinks. He didn't want to come back this season. He hates it there. He doesn't want to be there. That line stinks. Those receivers are overrated. The defense is terrible. The coach is awful. Tampa Bay's out. In fact, there was a thought that by hiring Bill O'Brien, if the Buccaneers did that, that could have been their Hail Mary to keep Brady. Tampa's out. Number two, there's Miami. That makes sense. Miami's right there where the kids are. He wanted to go there last year. But Miami is letting everybody know that they plan to continue with Tua. So if what is being reported is true, Miami's out. Indianapolis. I doubt after Deflategate, Tom would ever play for the Colts. But they're also probably going to go young anyways. Indy's out. Houston. They're going to go young with the second overall pick in the draft. They're out. Carolina. Now, I put one sentence here with a question mark at the end. Why would Tom Brady go to Carolina? I don't think I need any more explanation for that. Do I? Ian?
The division? Maybe.
He's already in the division.
Yeah, and it's winnable. That's the only thing I got.
Why would he go there?
I no good reason other than maybe to win.
Okay, the Giants. They want Daniel Jones back.
Mm-hmm.
They've said we plan on Daniel Jones being back. They're probably going to franchise tag him. The Jets. Now, I think the Jets could be a logical fit, except it feels like the Jets have focused their energy on Aaron Rodgers. So, again, Brady with the Patriots, I don't know what his relationship with the Jets was, but it looks like the Jets are zeroing in trying to figure out how to get to Aaron Rodgers. So I have a question mark next to the Jets, and I think they could be on the list. Decent at wide receiver, good defense. Brees Hall, the running back, comes back. I mean, the Jets could be competition.
That would be something. You go from the Patriots to the Jets to end his career.
Bad ownership. I don't think he's going to Washington. Just terrible ownership. I don't think he's dealing with that. Then there's Atlanta. Now, Atlanta has Arthur Smith, a good coach. Nobody except for people around here know that Arthur Smith's a good coach. But they've got a good offensive coach in Arthur. They've got a running game with Cordero Patterson. They've got Kyle Pitts at tight end. They drafted Drake London in the first round. I mean, they've got some talent in Atlanta. And Brady knows that because Brady has played against Atlanta. So, other than the Jets in Atlanta, I don't know where Tom Brady would go if he returns to the NFL. Enter the Titans. Again, the Titans have their flaws, but so do the Jets and so does Atlanta. The difference is Tom Brady knows the coach. And I think there would be a level of belief that the coach, who is in charge of this operation, can get it right back to where it was before all the stuff hit the fan. Derrick Henry plays for the Titans. Traditionally, the Titans have a good defense. Brady knows that. I mean, I know, Bob Shoop today said, I think it's a pipe dream that Brady would want to come here and all of this. But of all the teams out there, the Jets in Atlanta are the only ones that I feel like would be in the same zip code of competing with the Titans for Brady if the Titans wanted Tom Brady and if Tom Brady wanted to return to the NFL. Again, I think the Raiders are rolling out the red carpet for Brady, but if Rick Stroud says because of his family, and again, we know Giselle and the kids are in Miami, and we know that Bridget Moynihan and his oldest son is in New York, then Vegas is out. And what Vegas has done with the whole Derek Carr thing is I think they've set themselves up in Las Vegas for, okay, if we don't get Tom Brady, we can sign Jimmy Garoppolo. Because we know Jimmy, and Jimmy knows our system, and Jimmy will work better than Carr. And if we end up not signing Jimmy, we have the 7th overall pick. We can trade the 7th pick for Mac Jones, and I think the Patriots would do it. So I see that, and I think to myself, there's a legitimate chance there. It's like I said to Bob, because every time I talk about Aaron Rodgers or I talk about Tom Brady, all anybody ever says is, they're not coming here. There's no way. They got to play somewhere. And they both like the coach here. And that's a big deal. Brady went to Tampa Bay. He didn't care about the coach. Brady went to Tampa Bay, and after the first year, it was like, man, I kind of wish everybody would show up to work on time. I wish the team was well run. I wish there was discipline and not busted coverages in the biggest play of the season. I'm not ruling out Brady here. Phone lines are driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, 615-737-1025. And Texter says, I've been a Patriot fan since they were the Boston Patriots. I am the only one who doesn't want Tom Brady to come to the Titans. Boy, I think there's a lot of people that don't want Tom Brady to come to the Titans. And I mean, everybody wants to sit there and they want to say, like, oh, it's impossible. But again, where's he going to play? The Jets, maybe. Atlanta, maybe. That's it.
Are you convinced he's going to play?
I am.
Are you? Yeah.
Yeah. I think if he wasn't going to play, then I think he and Giselle would probably still be together. If it is, in fact, true that the biggest problem in their marriage was him playing football.
It would be a shame if they got divorced and then he just retired right after the season.
Right, if that was the reason why.
Yeah.
Scott says, how are we going to move on from Tannehill and pay Brady and fix the offense? There's not enough money with Tannehill's dead cap. We would have to hit on every draft pick in order to fix the offense and get Brady. What have we learned about the cap, folks? It's fake. It's fake. And again, you don't need 5 new offensive linemen. You need 3. And you don't need great offensive linemen. You just need serviceable offensive linemen. You need an offensive line coach that you can get. You don't need to go out and get Tyreek Hill to play wide receiver, though it would be nice. You can just get serviceable receivers. And with a better play caller, you'll already be infinitely better. Even if Tannehill's the quarterback, but especially if Brady's the quarterback. People get mad in the text line about, why are you talking about Tom Brady? Why are you talking about Tom Brady? He's the greatest quarterback of all time. And I still think, I remember the whole Brady Tannehill saga 3 years ago. And I remember how Floyder kept saying to us, well, there's no way that he's going to go to the Titans. He's not leaving New England, so, it's not even worth talking about. And when he ended up signing with Tampa Bay, I thought to myself, oh, my God, he would have come here if they really wanted him. And I don't know if that's true or not, but that's what I thought at the time. So we can sit there and say, oh, there's no way. He's got to play somewhere. And I think he's going to play. 615-737-1025, 615-737-1025. I was off yesterday. So I have a bunch of playoff takes to get to and Titans takes and everything else. We'll do that next. The potpourri, I will get it off my chest. I got a lot of takes held up, and we'll get to your phones. Stillman and Company. And there's one that I can't believe everybody doesn't have the same opinion on. We'll get to that next. Stillman and Company, 102.5-106.3 The Game. Hey, the Predators Player Show is coming up. It's called Smashville Live. You all know Smashville Live. Be sure to join us for tomorrow night for Smashville Live at Brewhouse South in Cool Springs, starting at 6 o'clock. See your Predators star players up close and personal and get autographs and pictures. The 2 players tomorrow will be Nino Niederreiter and Ryan McDonough. Smashville Live is brought to you by Spring Hill Heating and Cooling, Little Harpeth Beer, and Superbook Sports.
When you want all the
Going in and the score. Blast the score. He risks one, they score.
and don't forget the
Oh, what a stop. Sliding across to make the save. Backhander, nice stop.
when all you want is Smashville. We have you covered. Hear every Predators game right here. We are your home for Smashville. 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Middle Tennessee, you can count on an award-winning service team for all your home maintenance and improvement needs. Lee Company, we're A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau and trusted by thousands of homeowners in our community. Our team is ready to assist with all your home maintenance projects, heating and air conditioning, plumbing, electrical, appliance service, and more. Experience the convenience of calling one phone number for all your home maintenance needs. Call Lee Company today at 615-567-1000 or visit leecompany.com.
At Genesis Diamonds, it's not just a new year. It's a new opportunity to bring you more choices, more value, more ways to celebrate your love. So we've expanded our selection of exquisite hand-picked diamonds from a half carat to 15 carats, all shapes, all sizes, all at our famous no middleman prices. This year especially, we know price matters, and we're committed to delivering the best value every day. We've also brought in even more exclusive designer jewelry, new cutting-edge fashion-forward rings, earrings, bands, bracelets, pendants, things you can't find anywhere else. And of course, Genesis is proud to offer a truly spectacular collection of luxury pre-owned Rolex timepieces. We have all the most popular models in stock with no wait list and no restrictions. Is this the year you reward yourself with a premier name and timepieces? Come to Genesis in 2023 and let our non-commissioned experts help you celebrate those important milestones. We guarantee the best value, the highest quality, and the strongest warranties and guarantees in the jewelry industry. Genesis Diamonds and luxury pre-owned Rolexes.
Prescription products require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if a prescription is appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for full details and important safety information. Subscription required.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same but is 90% cheaper? And you can get it online? Just go to 4hims.com/radio. At Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and trusted generic alternatives to the biggest brands at 90% off. That's right, get generic for Viagra, the same active ingredient as brand name Viagra, but 90% cheaper. It's the same medication you get from your doctor, but with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, 4hims.com/radio. That's 4hims.com/radio for your free online visit. FORHIMS.com/RADIO.
At the law office of Amanda J. Gentry, we are committed to defending your rights. We have a team committed to helping you navigate the court system, whether you've been accused of a crime or you're going through a messy divorce and custody. Call our team to help you navigate this system. We are here to protect your rights, to demand your rights, to enforce your rights. 615-604-6263. 615-604-6263. AmandaJGentry.com.
TSU basketball lives on 102.1 The Ville. Join Coach Brian Petty Collins and the Tigers for every great moment in the OVC. On your home for TSU basketball, 102.1 The Ville and the Ville app.
Hey Nashville, this is Paul Feinbaum and you're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Stillman and Company live at Bridgestone Arena. I was out yesterday attending a wedding, a 4 p.m. on a Monday wedding. I had a great time out in Phoenix. And now we're back. I got a lot of playoff takes to get off my chest. And, Ian, I'm actually adding a take. It's not on the list, but I am adding a take to the list of takes.
I like it.
So I want to start with my first take. The announcing this weekend in the NFL was absolutely dreadful. I mean, it was terrible. And I don't know where to start. I'm going to start with Tony Romo because I think Tony Romo freaking stinks. I mean, I remember when Tony Romo during the AFC Championship game in 2018 between the Patriots and the Chiefs was diagramming every play in the 2-minute drill before it happened. Oh, Jim, on this play right here, Brady's going to see he's got man coverage. If he sees the safety go over to Edelman, he's going to go to Gronk across the middle. And he would do it every time. And I was like, oh, my God, I feel smarter watching this. Now I watch Tony Romo call games, and I'm like, what the hell's this guy talking about? I mean, I don't know if he's mailing it in with the $18 million salary or whatever it is, but I heard him the other day say so many ridiculous things. He was talking about Joe Burrow. He's like, yeah, he doesn't have the talent of a Patrick Mahomes or a Josh Allen. Excuse me? Joe Burrow went number 1 in the draft. I keep hearing him talk about how great of a coach Zach Taylor is. Tony, it's the quarterback. So I listened to the third quarter on the radio, and I thought that Ian Eagle and Mike Mayock did a fabulous job, and that Mayock was infinitely more insightful than Tony Romo. So that's where I'm starting. I thought Romo was horrible. Number 2, Greg Olson and Kevin Burkhardt should be calling the Atlanta Falcons versus the New York Jets at noon on Fox. They should not be calling the 49ers and the Cowboys in the divisional round of the playoffs. I kept watching that game because that was a John Madden, Pat Summerall game if there ever was one. You know, historic franchises, Big playoff game, great atmosphere. That is how when I flew into Green Bay before the Packer game this year, and you see that giant stadium in the middle of the city as you're flying in and you're landing, I could hear Pat Summerall in my head saying, "Good afternoon and welcome to Lambeau Field." I could just hear it. You know what I'm talking about. Greg Olsen and Kevin Burkhardt don't do it for me. And Greg Olsen never shuts up. I mean, it's like, my God, listening to him call the game, it's like, oh, terrible, terrible. Joe and Troy, come back. The other thing about the broadcasting that drove me crazy, this number 2 crew on Fox. They got a baseball guy, and I mean, Moose Johnston's fine, but Kenny Albert can't crack the top 2 at Fox? They got their baseball guy doing it? Oh, terrible. Got a scarf on, and every play is a big play with this guy. Joe Davis, terrible. So I thought the broadcasting this weekend, and not that it would affect whether or not anybody watched, 40 million people, or excuse me, 42, 45 million people still ended up watching the Niners take on the Cowboys, but I thought the announcing this weekend was absolutely horrendous, and I have to get that off my chest. The second thing, the 49ers are the latest example of the fact that the salary cap is not real in the NFL. And every time I say that, people will say things like, well, it's not that it's not real, it's just it's flexible. And I'm going to explain to you exactly why the cap is not real. Because if the salary cap was real, then it would cap your spending. The San Francisco 49ers are the latest. The answer is Jimmy Ward, who has a salary cap number at $12.9 million. So Trent Williams, their all-world left tackle, does not have a salary cap number more than $12.9 million. By the way, he's been there for 3 years now. He has pocketed $59 million over 3 years, and his cap number is below 12.9. Deebo Samuel, Christian McCaffrey, George Kittle, Nick Bosa, Eric Armstead, Fred Warner, all these guys. And Jimmy Ward has the highest cap number at $12.9 million. It's fake. What is real is the cash that the owner has to spend. Somebody said to me, if that were the case, Jerry Jones would have the best team every year if there was no cap. Dallas was 30th in cash spent this past year. Why? Because Jerry likes his money. That's why. It's all about the money you're going to spend. The Rams, number 1 in cash spent. Surprise, surprise. Cap's fake. Third take I have from the weekend. Every team still playing has a legit tight end. Every single one of them. Dallas Goedert in Philadelphia. George Kittle in San Francisco. Obviously, Travis Kelce's one of the best tight ends in the history of the NFL. And even Hayden Hurst of the Bengals, Joe Burrow utilizes a lot. Now, I love Chigakonkwo's potential, but I don't think he's really a starting tight end yet in the NFL. And after watching this weekend, I thought to myself, is it time to pick up the phone and call the Patriots about Jonnu Smith? Now, I know they paid Jonnu Smith a bunch of money, and you would need New England to eat a lot of the money that they have left for Jonnu, or Jonnu to take a pay cut, or something like that. But Jonnu's going to get cut after next year in New England no matter what, so it may be something he might be interested in. The truth is Jonnu Smith has not been a starting tight end with the Patriots, but he was a legitimate number 1 tight end here. He wasn't as good as George Kittle or Travis Kelce, but he was a legit dude. 8 red zone touchdowns. I don't know. Do you pick up the phone? Austin Hooper and Jeff Swaim are free agents. Do you pick up the phone and you call the Patriots and see if they would give you Jonnu and if Jonnu would rework his deal? Because he's been a massive disappointment there. But everybody's got a real tight end. And not only do they have a real tight end, but they don't do what the Titans have done, which is have a receiving tight end and a blocking tight end. They just have a tight end. And I think it's time for that. I think my next take is the line coach. The Titans have an opening for the offensive line coach. Not hearing anybody talking about it. I think the line coach is the 3rd most important coach on your team. To me, head coach 1, offensive coordinator 2, line coach 3. Just look at Cincinnati. Their line's not even very good. They had all backups in there, and somehow they dominated the front from the Buffalo Bills. Why? Because they've got a good line coach. I was never overly sold on Keith Carter, though I did defend him at the end, and I certainly don't think it was Keith Carter's fault that the Titans' offensive line was as bad as they were. But line coach, in my opinion, is a big deal in this league. Also, one thing that Joe Burrow and Tom Brady do that Ryan Tannehill will not do, even after a decade in the league, Tom Brady will not dirt the ball. Ryan Tannehill will not dirt the ball. If Joe Burrow sees a defensive end coming and a screen or something really isn't there, he'll throw that ball in the ground right at that guy's feet as hard as possible. Tannehill always, even when the screen's sniffed out, Tannehill has to throw the ball, and the linebacker gets an easy crack at the running back. You've been in the league for 10 years. Dirt the ball. I thought Burrow did an excellent job of that. My last take of the wild card, of the divisional round weekend, what was the deal with that A.J. Brown tantrum at the end of the Eagles game? Ian, did you see that? A.J. on the sidelines complaining?
A little bit, yeah, a little bit.
They're up by 100.
That and Diggs, I guess, had a little bit too. Stephon Diggs with the Bills.
I get why Diggs was mad. They lost.
Yeah,
A.J. Brown's on the sidelines. He's pouting like a baby, and they're up by 100 points.
Mm-hmm. I saw something that maybe he got a little bit of a injury ding, in the game. Maybe he was a little bit frustrated. I don't know.
And he took it out like acting like a baby on the bench?
I mean, you would think when you're destroying, the Giants in a playoff game, when it comes to the playoffs, hey, man, a win's a win.
I'll say this. When I was in college, my freshman year, the Louisville men's basketball team was the number 1 team in the country. And they played in the Sweet 16 against Arizona, and they freaking smoked them. And we all thought they were going to go win the national championship. They killed them. The next game against Michigan State, very undermanned compared to this Louisville team. But the best player on the team was a forward by the name of Terrence Williams. And they had beaten Arizona by too many, and Terrence Williams and Patino got into it, and all of a sudden Michigan State smokes Louisville. And the moral of the story here was they won that game by too much, and the volatile personality that everybody put up with because he could play really showed through in the end, and it tore everything apart. I'm not saying that's going to happen with AJ, but it is a terrible look to be up by 500 points and be throwing the tantrum that he was throwing on the bench Saturday night. My last take, the one I said I added, Scott Rowland got elected to the Baseball Hall of Fame. Give me a break. As I have always said with Hall of Fames, if we're sitting there talking and we say, was he a Hall of Famer? The answer should be, oh, yeah, or else they shouldn't be in. Those are my takes. Phone lines driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Adam in Portland has been waiting patiently. He's up next. Thank you for calling. What's up, Adam?
Hey, Jared, you're on fire today, dude. I agree with every single thing you said. Hey, and we missed you yesterday, but I will say, man, I call in just to agree with you today, man, about Romo, because I've been thinking for a long time. I'm like, all right, so I remember him doing that Nostradamus stuff too, and you're like, golly, this is awesome. Why didn't he do this when he played? Because I remember him taking butt whoopings because he misread defenses. And then the more I've been listening to him the last, probably year and a half, 2 years, I'm like, he sucks, man. He took that money and ran Big Al, man. He is ripped off CBS big time. I think he's trash.
I don't know what has gotten into Tony Romo. Thank you, Adam. Dick Ebersol, the long-time, just brilliant executive at NBC, was quoted as basically saying, I wish I was producing Tony Romo's broadcasts because I could get Tony Romo back. And then he backtracked what he said. Tony Romo stinks.
I wonder if they got a memo from the league or
saying
something.
Stop predicting the plays.
Stop trying to, I don't know, maybe. I'm trying to think about why he would just completely stop after off. Everyone was loving that about what he was doing when he first started, and now he's not doing it anymore. So
I don't think he was asked to stop. I could be wrong.
Yeah.
Tony Romo asked Jim Nantz some of the stupidest questions in the booth sometimes. It's like, I don't know, Jim, do you go for it on 4th and 18 up by 10 in the fourth quarter? I don't know, Jim. Yes, you do, Tony. You punt. you know, Tony, you punt. The thing that I can't get over is how many people think that this Burkhart-Olsen group that's going to be calling the Super Bowl this year, how many people don't think that crew is terrible? Again,
I don't know if they're terrible. I don't know if they're one crew level, but I don't know about terrible.
They should be doing the Carolina Panthers and the New Orleans Saints on Fox. That should be what they're doing. But like a big Green Bay Packer, Dallas Cowboys, San Francisco 49er, Philadelphia Eagle game, no. Like the Madden and Summerall territory, no. Totally against it. Texter says, if the Titans move on from Tannehill and get Tom Brady, what are they going to do the following year with a 47-year-old Tom Brady when he wants to hang it up? Start over? Says that with a question mark. Let me ask you this. What's Tampa Bay going to do this year? They're going to go get another quarterback. Everybody's so worried about what are you going to do when this happens, and what are you going to do when this is going to go on, or what are you going to do if let me ask you a question. What are you going to do when you run into the exact same problems with Ryan Tannehill that Dallas is running into right now with Dak Prescott? Which is Dak has his limitations. Dak Prescott cannot carry a team. And in the NFC, you're going to have to go through 3 really good teams. And Dak can't do it 3 times. Ryan Tannehill can't do it 3 times either. What are you going to do? So you can either upgrade the position or you can keep running it back. But don't give me what are we going to do when Brady hangs it up? And then we'll get to that. We will burn that bridge when we get there. 615-737-1025 is our phone number, 615-737-1025 here on the program. Predators game day. Big one tonight against Winnipeg. I heard David Poyle said today on the morning show, he said, it's time for the Predators to figure out what they're going to be or not be. And I was like, David, I feel like a lot of us got there after the Colorado series last year. But we'll see. Big one tonight. Predators game days next. Stillman & Company, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
Hey, Middle Tennessee, it's trivia time. You think you're pretty smart? Well, come on out Wednesday, February 1st to Boom Ba's East and test your trivia skills. Featuring Willie Donick as Trivia Master, all proceeds support STARS and the hope, health, and connection of young people in our community. Register your team of no more than 4 and let the competition begin. Go to starsnashville.org to officially sign up. That's starsnashville.org. See you February 1st at Boom Ba's East.
Join the Nashville Chamber of Commerce for YP Nashville Connect 2023. This Thursday, YP Connect will be in the East Club and Nissan Stadium. This after-hours trade show style event connects young professionals to community impact opportunities with YP Nashville member organizations. As the largest gathering of young professionals in Nashville, YP Connect is a great way to get you plugged into Nashville's expansive young professional community. Register online for the next event at NashvilleChamber.com. That's NashvilleChamber.com.
The playoffs are in full swing, and Electronic Express is bringing you show-stopping deals. Come into any of our convenient locations and save big on 4K TVs from your favorite brands like Samsung, LG, Sony, TCL, Hisense, and more. Electronic Express has huge savings in every department. 4K TVs, computers, appliances, housewares, gaming, and more. Save up to 40% with up to 36 months free financing. Get big game ready in-store or online at electronicexpress.com. Electronic Express, we make it happen.
The National Wild Turkey Federation is celebrating 50 years of conservation delivery during this year's Convention and Sports Show, set for February 16th through 18th at Gaylord Opryland Resort and Convention Center in Nashville, Tennessee. Come celebrate the golden anniversary with members, volunteers, partners, and countless outdoor enthusiasts. You can expect the same great nightly events, quality entertainment in the watering hole, and the latest gear from more than 450 companies featured in their exhibit hall. For more info, go to nwtf.org.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ziprecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate through the site within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free. Just go to this exclusive web address, ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Start your day with a cup of Joe. Ugh, he's gonna think that's stupid. Wait, what? Robbie Stanley and Joe Rexroad are Robbie and Rexroad. There, that sounds better.
Thank you so much.
Weekdays from 6 to 9 on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app. You're listening to Stillman and Company, presented by TriStar Moving on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app. It's Hockey Night in Smashville.
Deflects back for Duchesne. His shot stopped, and the score!
What are the keys to victory tonight? What's being said in the locker room? Where do the Preds reside in the Central Division standings? Jared Stillman has the latest now. With Preds Game Day on Stillman and Company. This is Smashville's best sports talk. ESPN 102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Predators Game Day is presented by TJ Anderson Homes of Benchmark Realty. You all know TJ Anderson. He's my realtor. TJ has taken care of 2 home purchases for me. He's done even more for my friends, and I have no hesitation in referring them to him and his wonderful staff. I absolutely love my friends at TJAndersonHomes.com and TJ Anderson Homes of Benchmark Realty. They are the best. They got great tools that are coming available as far as new homes and everything else. And if you're looking to sell your property free and clear, ask TJ how well he's doing marketing those properties. Predators tonight against the Winnipeg Jets, 7 o'clock right here, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Winnipeg, who I don't want to say fired their coach last year because they really didn't. Paul Maurice quit in the middle of the season, but they moved off of their coach. Dallas fired their coach, Rick Bowness, who is now the head coach here in Winnipeg. And everybody said, oh, he's just retiring, when I kept asking why the Predators can't fire their coach. And everyone's like, oh, well, you know, Dallas, their coach retired. The next day he went to Winnipeg, and Winnipeg's in second place. Dallas, who fired their coach, is in first place. So this is a big deal for the Predators, who are 5 points out of a playoff spot, with surging Colorado now 3 points ahead of them. The Predators do, though, have 2 games in hand on both Edmonton and Calgary. Coach John Hines on the Winnipeg Jets.
Anytime a team is in first place, you know, in the Western Conference or the Eastern Conference, there's a lot of good things going on in their game. I think a couple things to point out. You know, goaltending is very good. Special teams are excellent. I think they're 12th on the power play. I think they're second in the penalty kill. You know, I think they're fourth in goals against, and I think they're top 12 in goals for. So I think when you just look at those statistics, they're really good on special teams. They got great goaltending. Obviously, their 5-on-5 play is very good. They have talented players. They're playing a really good team game, and that's why they're in the position they're in. So I think when you recognize those things, you understand that this is a game where you have to be able to bring your best to get a win.
Predators are going to have to start winning games that they shouldn't win. This is going to be one of them, because if they're going to make the playoffs, which I know that me and a lot of other people, we wonder what that will mean if they make the playoffs. But if they're going to make the playoffs, they have a lot of catching up to do. Money Puck gives them a 19.8% chance to make the playoffs. David Poyle was on the morning show today, basically saying at some point they're going to have to get into the playoff picture. It's almost now or never for this team. So the Predators, a very frustrating start to their season after a very frustrating end to last season. I think, by hockey terms, I think the coach has been given far longer life than he may have been given in other places. Well, it's time for them to start doing something about that. If they don't, it's going to be a long spring and maybe a long while for them to get out of this one. So it's a big one tonight. That's going to do it for us. Max Hers is here. He's got the pregame show coming up next. The Predators and the Winnipeg Jets tonight, right here, 102.5, 106.3 The Game, 7 o'clock. Stillman and Company. We'll see you tomorrow at 2.